What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, world? Look at these DJ horns in. Coop, how you doing on this Wednesday?
Doing excellent. I'm blessed and highly favored.
Awesome, awesome. Feeling good, feeling great.
Feeling great. Feeling good.
People say whose list was the worst, Mike D's or Coop's. I mean, we can
First of
go.
all, the people that are saying that, I'd like to say beep, 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 beep,
You know
beep,
what?
beep.
Let me get my notes. I know we could wait for some people to get in the room, or we could just get to it. Let's see what people got to say. What's up, 36 Chambers? Yeah, we had fun on the Patreon, man. That was cool. That was a
That was fun.
celebration of the Dungeon family and Native Tongue, and some of the songs that I have down is some of the greatest hip hop songs ever. Was in that collective actually. I want to let people know what I did when I was thinking about rating. You know what I'm saying? And
Okay.
it was very difficult because we'll go ahead and just start it off, man. I'm getting all my notes and all that stuff together. But when you think about a genre that's 50 years old, and I guess probably from a recording standpoint, maybe about 44 years old, you're going to count Rapper's Delight and, some of the stuff that came out in 79, Curtis Blow. Um, I was looking at it like I look at music as experiences, right? And hip hop being 50, or let's just say 43 from a recording standpoint, 44, I kind of tried to gauge how impactful records have been for their era. So, one of the things that I did kind of break down, and this is after the fact, I didn't do this, knowingly. I broke down like how many records I had from each time period. And it was like 14 records from the 80s. It was 9 records from that 2000 period, 5 from 2010 and up, and 22 from the 90s. And I know that obviously the 90s is going to be, very jam packed because when it comes to media and music media, not just hip hop, the 90s was that time where radio was running things and you had big stars, you had television, so these records had that time to circulate and grow and become legendary in the 90s. And it was just so many great artists, albums, and singles that came out in that era, so it's gonna have more. And not to mention that the 80s is kind of cut off because commercially, outside of what Run DMC, Houdini, and Melly Melden did, and Grandmaster Flash Furious 5 did, when you're looking at the 80s and its great records, you're looking at pretty much 86 up. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Minus a few people here and there. So it kind of gets cut in half in a way that the 90s doesn't. The 2000s still is kind of holding on to the traditional way of putting music out. And I think that the 2010s, the digital era, first of all, a lot of those songs just aren't old enough to really compete. But what I tried to do with this list, long story short, is I tried to put on records that were statement pieces and that meant a lot or mean a lot to the people that grew up listening to them. Whether those people who grew up listening to them are 22 now or 52 now. You know what I mean? And so, and
No,
again, with hip hop being 50, we have to represent all 50 years and not just 20 years of it, you know?
no, and I think so. I'll tell you what. I mean, I want to make sure that you're finished, like with your
No, no,
points.
no, I'm finished. I'm sorry. Yep.
I think no. I just want to make sure. I think rationale and rubric have a large part to play in how we qualify and quantify these lists. And I'd like to unpack it a little bit from your side and from mine. You see, what you really just explained was your rubric for how you decided and dispersed upon which songs made it and which songs didn't.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell you what, my rubric was more closely aligned to yours. until like something happened to me. And this is what I mean, like hip hop is a beautiful thing. And people that know me know that, you know, like I have a certain level of faith and belief system about stuff. I'm going to tell you what happened to me. Now, about 3 a.m. when I'm finishing up this list, Mike, I'm passing out and I'm falling asleep, and this list is done.
Mm-hmm.
Now, part of the reason why I passed out is because my keyboard that I have in front of me, like it keeps a couple of AAA batteries in it. You know, it's a wireless keyboard, so I can plug it up to like any other device. I can plug it up to my phone, iPad, boom, 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 take it everywhere. So it's dead, and quite frankly, I don't feel like getting up and getting no AAA batteries, so that's when I called it a night. So I know the batteries are dead. Okay? I was just like, well, I was like, we're done. I was like, I'm not posting anything. I'm not, I was like, the keyboard's there. I was like, I'm definitely not about to type this on my fingers on my phone or grab the stylus or iPad pen or any of that shit. Like, none of that's happening.
Right.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Mike, I'm going to tell you what happened to me. I woke up at 7 o'clock this morning because my alarm always goes off at 7 o'clock every morning. If nothing else, I'm usually up before then, but if nothing else, I'm up at 7. Mike, I reached over and I hit the keyboard. Now, keep in mind, this keyboard was dead. And UGK's Let Me See It came on when I hit the keyboard on my iPad.
Oh, so that was a spur of the moment pick? I had questions about that pick.
I don't know how it happened, but Let Me See It came on, Mike, and I immediately shut the fuck up and I was like, I did the list wrong. Because here's how I did my list. I looked at what the best songs were in relationship to what they actually meant to the artist and what the artist's career would look like if that record, or in the case of a few artists on the list, those records don't exist. And what I would tell you is that the legend of most of these artists is built within the records that I chose, and that's how I chose my records. I really chose to kind of make it a cultural piece more than a hit piece, because here's the thing that I realized. A lot of our hit records don't speak to our culture appropriately, properly, and with the light sometimes and the levity that we need to shine it upon, but also sometimes with the depth and the angst that need to be shown upon it too. Some of the records lack that, and you'll find that those records that lack that don't make my list. What you'll find on here is that these are the songs that really made the artists that you love who they are. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I looked at when I looked at the top 50 rap song. It's like, well, let's look at your best characters and let's look at their best work and let's kind of see where that fits in the situation.
Well, see, so, I guess I kind of, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. So I just want to say, so, I mean, Mike, and you're not going to like this. Well, quite frankly, that's why there's really no tribe on this list, because when I realize it, it's like, well, their best song to me is Award Tour. But Electric Relaxation and Bonita are bigger than Award Tour. But then I looked at it, it's like, well, how important is each record succinctly? Like, it's not like, I mean, and I say this respectfully about Bonita and about People's Instinctive. It's not like people were walking around after People's Instinctive saying Q-Tip was going to be the greatest MC of all time and that they were the greatest group ever. You feel me? People said that after they heard NWA's first album, after they heard Wu-Tang's first album, after they heard Public Enemy's first and second projects. You get what I'm saying?
The Tribe did get 5 mics out the gate.
I see, that's where I had to realize something. It's like, well, we ain't really talking about like the quality of the album. And what I really realized is Tribe really excels in the quality of the album, because it's like, well, there is no picking Award Tour without really picking Electric Relaxation or picking Bonita. And then I realized it's like, is any of those records really big enough to be considered 50? Because here's what I'll tell you. I thought about Bonita, and I'm going to tell you what song I replaced Bonita with. I replaced it with The Light by Common.
And I disagree with that. I mean, because, go ahead.
Because bigger career, bigger catalog, bigger hit maker, better MC, more impactful song for the artist in terms of what it did for their career.
And so I
did have Bonita on this list, but I did replace Bonita with The Light, because when I thought about it, I was like, Well, everybody puts "I Used to Love Her" on there, and I'm like, but that didn't change a damn thing for Common, but the light sure did.
I don't feel like, first of all, I don't think Common has had a bigger career than Tribe. I think
Yes,
that
he has.
not because of the light. I think that Common connecting with Kanye West is what propelled him to popular culture status. I think Tribe was able to do that just being Tribe. Um,
Are you
well,
sure about that?
I'm completely sure about that. But what I will say, I think that I looked at
I
this
don't think
in a
so.
different way. I looked at this as where would the game, well, where would hip hop be in general without a certain record, not the individual artist. And
But this is
Bonita,
this.
and that's one of the reasons why Supersonic. I really tried to get that one in there, but it was hard to keep it in there. But Supersonic has influenced by JJ Fad, by the way, has influenced so many records after it. Bonita
See what I would
Applebaum has influenced so many records
see.
after it.
Okay, so hold on. So here's what I would tell you. That's exactly what I would tell you. Is it's like, well, when you say that, it's like, well, Supersonic, and really think about what I'm saying. What does Supersonic really contribute? Like, I know it's a big hit record. I love me some Supersonic, but Mike, when you're saying that it's like top 50, it's like, is that the representation of hip hop? Is that the representation of women in hip hop? Because what I would tell you is that no, it's just a great hit record, and that there's a separate list for that. But if you told me that it
I don't
belongs on
know.
your list based on what you said, I understand, and that's why I think the viewpoint is important.
I mean, well, without Supersonic, we wouldn't have Rap God. We wouldn't have Fergalicious. And honestly,
You can keep those.
the beginnings of Dr. Dre are traced back to Supersonic. Them having that hit record had a lot to do with that, with NWA being funded and getting to where they were able to get to. So Supersonic is important.
I would quibble with you and tell you that a song that I picked, Boys in the Hood, had more to do with that than Supersonic did.
Which one was first?
Let's find out. I was actually thinking that while you were
Let's see.
asking that. Find out when Supersonic came out.
JJ Fast, Supersonic. And Supersonic's a classic. And okay, that was April 18th, 1988. It was released as a single.
Oh no, I think I got you, Mike. Yeah, I got you. Boys in the Hood was released by Eazy-E in March of 1987. Sir.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's it. And I do have Boys in the Hood on my list about that action right there. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because for me, like when I look at Boys in the Hood, it's like, no, Mike. Boys in the Hood is really in a lot of ways responsible for Easy, Dre, and Ice Cube, because it's what set NWA and that whole movement off. And so just off that, it's like it's in, and then the fact that the record, and this is my other part of it, and then the record's actually awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I
But
love Boys
like
in
I
the
said,
Hood.
but
And
that's
again,
my
you know me.
viewpoint.
I feel like that's the best trio we've ever seen in hip hop.
No,
Easy,
you might be
Cube,
right, but
and
you can
Dre.
trace that trio back to that song, and that's
Yeah.
why it's like, no, that's top 50.
Okay. Well, let me go to your list real quick. Or do you want to start with mine?
No. Let's start with yours. You kind of dropped yours first, so I think you've had the opportunity time wise to get like a little bit more traction, like comment wise.
Okay.
And so let's see what some people are saying, like comment wise, and kind of like unpack your list. Because I'll tell you what, a lot of songs that are on your list, I made a song list of like what I thought were the top 50 hits. And what I'll tell you is that more of the songs that are on your list made my hits list than the songs that are on my list.
Well, this is the thing. And again, I think.
And I know it's hard to differentiate because the songs that are on my list are a hit too. But when I mean a hit, I mean, here's what I'm saying. Here's what's not on my list. Supersonic, Push It, It Takes Two, Top Billing, You Can't Touch This, Jump. Like, those are hits.
Those aren't on my list either, other than, Push It. Now, you have to have Push It.
I almost had Push It.
I think, again, when you talk about hits or, Black Eyed Peas, I Got a Feeling is a hit. I'm talking more so impact. And when you have a big, big record and it does well, it's like it has the ability to have impact more than records that weren't really, you know what I'm saying, as massive as them. It's almost like, you know, NBA champion. Whoever wins the championship, people are tailoring their team to that. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the times, the big hit records are able to, or records that were notable. Because I don't know what Dear Mama did as far as numbers go, but it's impactful. You know what I mean? If you ask anybody in the barbershop if it was a hit, yeah, it was a hit. I don't know how many records it sold, but it was a hit. It's Dear Mama. You know what I mean?
Right. See, that's what I'm saying. So that's so it's kind of, it's funny.
Because anything outside of that, it feels like I'm pulling my
Oh,
own opinions in there. Like Shook Ones didn't do numbers, but that's a hit for hip
right.
hop.
No, like when you flip, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like, would that be in my top 50 songs list? Yes. Is it gonna be in my top 50 hits list? No.
Well, I think hits is something that you really can quantify with numbers. Like we really could go out there and pull
No,
a.
that's not
We
all a
could no,
numbers
we
game.
could
Like,
really
if that's
pull
the
a
case,
rap
Eminem's
sheet.
gonna like come in like Eminem,
Exactly. We could pull
Drake.
a rap sheet and say, you know what? Based on the numbers, because that's what a hit is, these are the top 50. And it's going to look a lot different than what may be impactful. Like I said, Shook Ones ain't going to be on that list, but you can't tell somebody that Shook Ones isn't a hit in hip hop. It's a hip hop hit. How is it not? Eric Terrell with the super chat says, in 1991, Check the Rhyme is that song at the club. Definitely. All right, let me get to my list.
Yeah.
Okay, so in no particular order, obviously, we got The Message, Grandmaster Flash Furious 5, Sucker MCs, Run DMC, Rock the Bells, LL. You got Fight the Power, Public Enemy, Cream, Wu-Tang, A Children's Story, Slick Rick, Mobb Deep, Shook Ones Part 2, Paid in Full, Eric B. and Rakim, Summertime, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Straight Outta Compton, NWA, It Was a Good Day, Cube, Houdini, Freaks Come Out at Night, Nothing But a G Thing, Dr. Dre, and Snoop Dogg.
Oh, is that my list?
No, it's my list.
Okay.
Made You Look, Nas, Dear Mama, Tupac, UNITY, Queen Latifah, Bonita Applebaum, A Tribe Called Quest, One More Chance, the Stay With Me remix, Biggie, Eric B. is president, Eric B. and Rakim, When They Reminisce Over You, Pete Rock and CL Smooth, Ain't No Half Steppin', Big Daddy Kane, Mom Playing Tricks on Me, Ghetto Boys, The Symphony, Marley Marl, My Philosophy, Boogie Down Productions, Who Am I, What's My Name, Snoop Dogg, Crossroads Remix, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Goody Mob, Cell Therapy, Still DRE, Dr. Dre, All About the Benjamins, Diddy, Hip Hop Parade, Naughty by Nature, Hot in Here, Nelly, Bonds of a Bad Dad, Outkast, Millie, Lil Wayne, Regulate, Warren G, and Nate Dogg. I can't leave Nate Dogg out of that. Sorry I didn't put him in the print. Rest in peace to him. March Madness, Future. Jesus Walks, Kanye West. In the Club, 50 Cent. Bad and Bougie, Migos. What You Know, T.I. I Don't Like, Chief Keef. Grinding, Clips. Doo-Wop, Lauryn Hill. Just a Friend, Biz Marquee. Back that ass up. Juvenile. Push It, Salt and Pepper. Niggas in Paris, Jay-Z and Kanye. All Right, Kendrick Lamar. Knuck If You Buck, Crime Mob, California Love, Tupac and Dr. Dre. And The Choice Is Yours, Black Sheep. Now, the honorable mentions that I had was Supersonic, JJ Fab. I got 5 on it, Loonies. Rebel Without a Pause, Public Enemy. Wiz Khalifa, See You Again, Cardi B, Bodak Yellow, and Baby Got Back, Sir Mix-a-Lot. What are your thoughts?
No to all of your honorable mentions.
What are your thoughts on the actual list? You don't think 5 on it's a top 50?
For a hit, like I have it on my hits list. Like I got 5 on it would be on my hits list. But that's what I'm saying is it's like, okay, now we know that weed smoke is part of this culture. You know what I'm saying? Is this the best weed song ever? It's definitely the most catchy.
Name one better.
It's definitely the most catchy.
Name one better.
I mean, Mike, that's what I'm saying. Is it's like, well, if
And
you
you
really
like
want
you
to.
always like to say about if you know you know. I got 5 on it as in the lexicon.
No, I'm not taking anything away from it. Like I said, it's the catchiest weed song ever. I'm not disputing that. I tell you, Buddha Lovers and Butt Smokers Only off East 1999 alone are better songs. Like if you're just talking about records,
I'm a huge Bone fan. No, they're not. I love Bone,
I'm
and I love
like
those songs, but
I
they're
play those
not.
records more than I play I Got Five on it, Mike. I just do. You know what I'm saying?
If you put I Got 5 on it
Maybe this is part
on
of my family
now,
that's from Ohio, though. I don't know. Like my family from Northeast Ohio, so like maybe like I don't know.
but I'm saying if
But
you put this, if you put those records on,
Mary Jane by Scarface is better.
no, it's not. It's not.
You
We
don't
can't
think
front
Mary
on
Jane
the
by Scarface
Loonies.
is better than I Got Five on it?
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
If you
And I
put
think and that's the difference between you and me because what I would tell you is that even a song like Mary Jane is more important to Scarface's catalog and to the lexicon of hip hop than I Got Five on it. How many people
no,
have
it's
taken I
not.
Got Five on it? How many people have taken Mary Jane?
I want to know in the room, what are y'all saying? Mary Jane or 5 on it? Am I
No. I'm
tripping?
asking you though. How many people have taken Mary Jane and how many people have taken I Got Five on it?
People taking I Got 5? Are you talking about the actual song taking it? Yeah.
Song, beat, the whole shit, Mike.
Yeah.
Everything.
5 on it gets done over. And you got the 5 on it remix too, and we ain't gonna talk about that. That's different.
The
But yeah,
remix is cold. The remix is cold. The remix is part of the problem with the original because the remix is actually colder than the original.
again, that spills into personal preferences there. You
That
know
ain't
what
no
I'm
personal
saying?
preference, Mike. Everybody knows that the remix is
Nah.
more fire.
I
It's
love the
just like
remix,
it's
but
just
nah,
like
the
the
first one's
Ignition
better.
remix by that nasty bastard R. Kelly. Yeah, that's better than the original, but I like
Well,
the original.
well, I
Just
mean,
the Ignition
the
remix is
ignition
better.
remix is better, but nah, the 5 on it remix isn't better. Everybody in the chat's pretty much picking 5 on it. That's, I mean, again, if you're in a sea of people and you play all of these records that you're talking about, you play Buddha Lovers, you play Bud Smokers Only, you play Mary Jane, and the DJ plays 5 on it. 5 on it's the one that's gonna get people up and singing and rapping. It
Right,
is
and
what
that's
it
why
is.
that's why I told you I put it on my hit list.
It's not
Because
about
that's
it
what
being
hits
a
do. Everything that you're speaking to is what a hit
what
record
ma-
is supposed to do. That
but
doesn't
Coop.
make. How many times do we sit up there and talk about how just because it's a hit record don't make it the better song? This is the same thing going on. Everything that you're
Well,
talking about, everything that you just said speaks to a hit record. You're like, if people are reciting it, the DJ putting it on, I'm like, oh, that's a hit record.
we're talking about a record from the Loonies. We're not talking about Eminem or Nelly or whatever putting out a record that's going to get a big push at a certain point. If a group
The
like
song's
the no,
banging.
let me finish. If a group like the Loonies puts out a song like 5 on it and it becomes a hit, that's off of the strength of how good the song is. Same thing with Do or Die and Po Pimpin'. Like no one knew who Do or Die was like that. The reason that song is big because it's a great song. It's not like some machine got behind the Loonies to push 5 on it into the lexicon and
No,
continue to pump them into radio.
that's not what
That
I'm
song did its.
saying.
I'm just saying you're kind of discrediting the fact that just because it's a hit doesn't make it a good song. But the reason why it's a hit is because it's a great song. Is what I'm saying.
I love I Got Five on it. I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I'm just saying that that type of record, like how about this? I put I Got Five on it. How about this? Mind Playing Tricks on Me? Children's Story? You feel what I'm saying? Like, those are easy top 50 picks. Like, I
Yeah.
Got Five on it, Mike, is more like a Treat 'em Right record with Chubb
Yeah,
Rock.
and that's why
You know
it's
what I'm
not
saying?
even in
It's
my
more like Treat 'em
50.
Right with Chubb Rock. It's like, it's that kind of record. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with those records. I love both of those records. But what I'm saying is that part of why those records didn't make my list is because what they provide is what they were supposed to provide. They provide a formulaic hit single for the times that's really not a total representation of the culture. What you find is that the songs that I chose are more cultural pieces. They're more pieces that are going to hold up over the test of time. Like Mike,
You
I
don't
Got
think
Five on
5
it.
on it held up?
Mike, how many? Mike, I'm pretty sure they probably. I know they playing. I Got Five on it in the Yay. I'm not even gonna ask. I know they
I
playing. I
mean,
Got
what you
Five on it
talking
in
about?
Cali.
Like they just used Key and Peele, not Key and Peele. Peele just used it in the the Us trailer and remixed it and freaked it. Yeah, I mean, it's the movie centered around that track. Let's not act like that track ain't got legs. That track came out in 1995, and it's in
95.
there using it in films in 2020 or 2019 or whatever Us came out.
It's it's one, and like I said, Mike, you want to know why it's still getting
By
used?
the Loonies, by the way. It's
Hold
not like
on,
it's by somebody big.
and I'll tell you exactly like this. It's still getting used because it's one of rap's 50 biggest hits, not one of rap's 50 best songs.
How are you quantifying it being rap's one of rap's 50 biggest hits? Because I don't think it is numerically.
No, I mean, see, that's what I'm saying. Like for me, how about this? The way you talk about "Ride with Me,"
I
same thing
didn't
applies.
include that. You sold me on Hot in Here. You're right.
I would put "Hot in Here" didn't make my list, Mike, because when I thought about it, it's like no, that doesn't. It's not. It's it's culturally speaking, like this is year 50. Like that's what I'm saying. It's all about the perspective of how you do the list. It's like when I looked at a lot of the records that I was like debating with, well, I took the stronger cultural piece that was more important to the artist, in my opinion. You
So
feel what
you
I'm
got
saying?
Let Me
Not
See
more
It and not Hot
I
in
didn't
Here?
pick the how about this? I didn't pick the record that I liked more. I didn't pick the record that I even thought was better. I picked the record that helped determine the artist's fate some, actually. Like, how about this, Mike? Like, forever you want to say, Mike, when people think of UGK, they think of Let Me See It. They don't think about International Players Anthem. International Players Anthem's a way bigger hit. You feel what I'm saying? It's a way bigger record.
I
Ain't
say
no
this
UGK,
respectfully.
no real UGK fan, Mike, is running around here talking about International Players Anthem the way they talk about Let Me See It. And that's what I kind of got back to with my list. That's why when Let Me See It came on, I was like, because Mike, I couldn't in clear conscience put International Players Anthem on my top 50. Like it didn't make the list that I made. But when I woke up in the morning, I hit the dead keyboard, the dead keyboard that ignited the iPad that played Let Me See It. I was like, but Let Me See It belongs. I was like, it sure does, because without Let Me See It, you don't have the legend of what is UGK. And what is this motherfucking game without UGK?
I think UGK's legend for what it was already, bubbling. I
No,
remember,
like,
no, 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 no.
that's
I remember when Chris Lover, aka Ludacris, was on the radio and they were debuting Let Me See It because Mr. DJ from Outkast or Organized Noise affiliate Dungeon Family rather, he produced it. And I love Let Me See It. It's actually one of my favorite UGK songs, right there with Murder, Woodwill, and all of that. And I say this respectfully, as much as I love UGK and rest in peace to Pimp C, they don't have a top 50 hip hop song all time. Now,
don't
I
agree.
would much rather barter for Space Age Pimpin' or Show
Uh,
Enough over that,
uh,
and I don't even think those make the list.
uh,
Eric Terrell with the super chat says, Mike, all due respect, no OPP or So Many Tears. I really wrestled with myself with the OPP and hip hop parade thing, and I just thought from a hip hop perspective and a cultural representation, I personally like OPP better between the two, but I think that hip hop parade is the better fit for a list like this. Now, I kind of want to backtrack to what I was talking about with Hot in Here, and that kind of goes with the hip hop parade thing too. I feel like it's impossible to tell the story of hip hop without speaking about Hot in Here and what it was in 2002. And you kind of sold me on that because at first I was leaning towards Ride With Me because it's aged better. I feel like it gets played more. I feel like it was one of those genre bending records that actually, was early on bending hip hop and country and even the melodic rhyming and stuff. I think Ride With Me does those things. But you were like, Hot in Here is just a monster record. And it's a record that it stopped the world. And even at this point, I mean, we even heard Erica Banks be able to do it over and have a hit on her own. I think a
I
lot
mean,
of that is that's impact. You know what I'm saying? When you see those things and you see different generations latching on to records, like again, The Message. Then you got Check Yourself remix. Then you got Can't Nobody Hold Me Down. All the way up to what Corey LeRae is doing right now. It's like, yeah, That's a record that has affected 4 different generations. And when you see people continuously doing that with the record, that's impact.
A couple things.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, this is what I'm talking about. People are walking around. Mike, I was here. I was outside. Nobody was talking about UGK like they were legends before Let Me See It. Those are lies. Those are lies.
So when Let Me See
That's
It
just not
and
true.
Shake 'Em Off
You
came
feel what I'm
out, they
saying?
were legends?
Like, what I'm saying is that I'm not saying that there aren't songs in people's catalogs that are better. But if we're doing a cultural piece for me encompasses a variety of things. So the song needs to be, first of all, there needs to be a visual aid. There needs to be actual context that's important, that helps you identify the artist, who the artist is, where the artist comes from. Like Missy said, part of an artist's job is to bring you into their world. So that's part of it to me. That's why it's a cultural piece for me. So it's like not about the song for me that's necessarily their best song, because that's too hard to do. We're going to sit up here and argue all day about who's got best song about what, Mike, because we're still arguing about the best song on the Purple Tape. Like, we can't do that. But I can highlight and see the songs that matter the most to the artist, I think, and how those songs affected the artist. And quite frankly, you can try to make it seem like this is like the NFL, but it's not. It's the NBA. This is a league of stars, and the stars matter. And quite frankly, Let Me See It is the record where the star that Bun B and Pimp C are comes to full fruition, and it is part of where their legend is built to the populace, not to the core, not to the people who know Murder and Pocket Full of Stones, Mike, but to everybody else, to the casual female, who never heard the song until she had to get out on the pole one night and dance to it, and then is acquainted with UGK because of it, and now so are her friends. Yeah, Let Me See It's different. That's why I picked it. Because
So
I
you
can
picked that
remember being
over.
outside. No, Mike, I can remember being outside and people who hadn't heard it hearing it and being like,
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
yeah,
I know.
no, it was
I
like
know.
that. Pocket Full of Stones wasn't like that, Mike. Murder wasn't like that. Let Me See It was like that. Those are the records that I picked.
But based on that notion, though, where does that leave the people like, Black Sheep that came with the record like The Choice Is Yours?
That leaves
Just
them on my hit list where they belong. That leaves them on the hit list where they belong.
so
This is a league
because
full of
so
stars.
this is what I'm gauging from what you're saying. Just because you didn't become one of the hip hop greats, you can't have one of the greatest hip hop songs ever.
No. You can have one of the greatest hip hop songs ever. It just ain't gonna be top 50. It'll be on the hits list. Like The Choice Is Yours.
Because of where your
is
career landed?
No, I mean, some of it is not even a career thing, Mike. But here's what I'm trying to tell you is that, like, some of your best records, will they come from your biggest stars? Because this is a star league. Like, we're gonna act like it's like some sort of team game now where everybody pass the ball. No, it's not. It's never been that. We come up here, we talk about specific people and specific groups and specific personas from those groups at times on end, because this is a league full of stars. The stars get the notoriety and make the list.
The stars get the notoriety because of body of work and not really individual
No, they
songs.
get the list
So
because
anybody can come through.
Mike, how about this? This is what I'm saying. Here's where those other artists lose, because you got artists like a Jay, who has made so many hit records that you're arguing about what record you can find of his that really matters the most to put in there. But you're just gonna tell me that this record that this guy made one time is bigger than Jay's most impactful record because it charted better. It's like, no, that's not how
even
it goes.
because it charted better.
How about this? The Choice Is Yours might be a better song than Hard Knock Life, but it's not bigger than Hard Knock Life because they're not bigger than Jay, and Jay is more important to the lexicon of this culture, and so is Hard Knock Life, than The Choice Is Yours could ever pray to be, because this is a league of stars.
I lean towards the actual music than the individual, because at the end of the day, Coop, even though a DJ is probably going to play more Jay-Z than they're going to play more Black Sheep, they're going to play The Choice Is Yours more than they're going to play any Jay-Z song. And that's just and again, that's separating the song from the artist. The songs actually live on their own. We herald the artist because they're able to consistently make hit records like that. That doesn't mean that just because they are that consistent in making hit records that whatever record they made just is, or whatever their biggest record is bigger than this person who knocked it out the park that one time. Hold on, let me get to Leroy Green real quick. It says, Mike, you must have went to school with Crime Mob. LOL, lean back. But did you hear the Just Blaze say that the beat for You Don't Know was originally for Prodigy? Did not hear that. Well, we know he wasn't going to get that. Let's see. Mad Max in the super chat says, lean back is top 50. Listen, if you guys feel like Lean Back is top 50, again, these discussions are for us to come with a cumulative list. I personally don't think Lean Back is I never liked Lean Back like that anyway. And I feel like after the time period where Lean Back was hot, it felt manufactured to me. We didn't really hear that record too much even after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the legs looking like on Lean Back for real?
I mean, Mike, this is what I keep trying to tell you is that like you, like historically, and if I'm wrong, tell me. You know the way music typically works, we tend to deify the greatest songs from the greatest artists. Tell me what genre of music that doesn't happen. And are there other songs that creep in? And you know what they're called? They're not given the same levity or brevity. They're called one-hit wonders, and then we push along. They actually dedicate a whole show. VH1 used to dedicate a show to people that made like those types of songs, as in like your contribution to the culture is this one of one, and then you're out.
And that's fine. I mean,
and listen to what I'm saying, Mike. So people are trying to cost me. It's like, no. Listen to what I'm saying. No, I looked at it like a cultural piece because this is year number 50. And so I'm looking at who has contributed and impacted the culture, because what you'll find is that the people who have impacted this culture the most, well, this culture is about music. That's about the songs. That's about the stars, because this is a star league. So when you're telling me that like top billing deserves to be on the list, it's like, no, it doesn't, because all it really provided was a hit record for the time. That's it.
And
Jay's giving us more than that.
No, a record like Top Billin' not only provided a hit record for the time, but it actually provided hit records for people after it from big artists as well. But I'm not picking Top
Billin' over Hard Knock Life, Mike.
Oh yeah, I am.
No, I'm not, because I'm telling you that what Top Billing does isn't bigger than what Hard Knock Life did for Jay, and what Jay has done to and for hip hop, whether you agree with it or not, is way bigger than that record could ever pray to be.
This is the thing, though,
and
Coop.
It's year 50,
and
so I'm keeping it about culture. If you want to make it about hits, that's fine. But like the way that you're saying, it just seems to me you're picking the songs that people like the most. It's like, oh, well, that ain't hard.
The most impactful.
Now you need to take all this Eminem smoke if you're gonna do that. Is how I feel about it.
It's not even people don't like Eminem records.
Why Eminem
Let's
on your
keep it real,
list,
Coop. Let's keep it real, Coop. People don't like
Coop, but he didn't make your list.
Cool. People don't like Eminem records. Let's keep it a buck. So it's not the same.
No, but
I'm playing actual records that people like. These are records that people actually listen to. So if people don't like his records, throw that out. You know what I mean? Like, his shit does numbers, but ain't nobody playing his shits in the mix like that. Now, what I will say though, I take on this type of philosophy even, with R&B, with pop records as well. I feel like TLC nor Escape or SWV have a better record than Jade's Don't Walk Away. I think that record as an individual song is better than anything that those artists ever made. Now, am I saying that Jade is better than them? No, because what those artists did is about a collection of work. And I don't think that people who knocked one record out the park should be minimized because the song exists in itself. The people make the songs, but the songs are being ranked. And like you said, ranking artists, that's a whole nother list. You know what I'm saying? But Mike, when we're ranking songs, we're ranking the song and not the person that made them.
So listen to what I'm about to tell you then. So you're picking some songs. What you're essentially telling me is it's like, no. It's okay for an artist to have a moment, right? And what you're saying is that artist, even though they're not the biggest or the brightest artist or the best artist, they deserve that moment, right?
It's not about the artist, it's about the song. I'm
Okay, about
listening
the
to the
song.
song for what the song is. I don't care who made it. Boogaloo down the street could have made The Choice Is Yours.
No,
It's
no, no.
a
This is no, no,
it's in
no.
the hip hop lexicon.
That's why I would submit to you, Mike. It does matter to you who made the song, Mike, because you picked Supersonic. Supersonic's not better than "Lose Yourself" by Eminem, and tell me how.
It is culturally a better song. I think it's
How?
more impactful. It has
How?
it's so
Mike, you
many
sound
records after
absurd.
it. It's so many records that were
No,
made
Mike, that's
after.
personal. You picking hit records. Why didn't you pick "Lose Yourself" like I did?
Well, look, Coop,
Supersonic is not as big as "Lose Yourself," Mike. You were bugging.
listen, man. Lose Yourself is quote unquote big because of who made it, and it was a movie soundtrack record. I think Lose Yourself is his best record, but I don't think it's more impactful than a record like Supersonic. And Supersonic's not even in my top 50. I had it as honorable mention. Can we address the actual 50?
Pick a song in your top 50. Very few of them are as impactful as "Lose Yourself," whether
How
you like it or
impactful is
not.
Lose Your... Okay, let's go down the line. Tell me
Yep.
which record you would pick Lose Yourself over. The Message, Sucker MCs, Rock the Bells, Fight the Power, Cream, A Children's Story, Mobb Deep. I'm sorry, Shook One's Part 2. I should have put the freaking song first. Paid in Full, Summertime.
Right there.
Whoa! Lose Yourself's better than Summertime?
Yes, it is.
Wow. Let me go to the super chats.
It is.
DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says, great list. I would have liked to seen Juicy on it though. Definitely. We can address that too.
Like Dave
let's
Chappelle
see.
has done whole skits about "Lose Yourself." Like,
So
like
what?
what are you talking
I don't
about?
care about
Like,
what
are you
Dave
talking
Chappelle
about?
does
What are
skits
you talking
about.
man?
Who
Like, what are you
cares?
talking about? Like,
That
what are you
doesn't matter.
doing? I
Spaghetti,
ain't even
spaghetti.
notice.
You
I didn't
talk
even
about
go.
that? Man, please. He makes fun of the record. Yes. he
Mike,
makes fun of the record.
Mike,
Jokes.
how can you have
Jokes and
Mike? You
jokes
have
and
doo-wop
jokes.
high, right?
Hmm?
Doo-wop on your list.
Doo-wop is on the list.
For the same reasons doo-wop is high, "Lose Yourself" is high. I could make the same argument.
It's just not that good of a song.
You feel that way
Just
because
You
you don't
Run.
like Eminem. That's
It's
what
just
I'm
not that
saying.
good of a
It's not
song.
about if you
Ain't
like it.
nobody
It's about
playing that
it's
shit,
about
man.
no. It's about the cultural relevance. And
How is it culturally
the cultural
relevant?
relevance of the artist and their song making has impacted the culture.
How is it
Lose
culturally
Yourself-
relevant to hip hop, and how is it culturally relevant outside of the artist? It's culturally relevant to him because of
Summertime
who
is
he
culturally
is.
relevant to everybody, Mike.
It
It's not
is.
just relevant to hip hop.
Yeah, Summertime is culturally relevant to everybody,
Right, but this is a
and
hip
it's a
hop
hip hop song. So
But
you're saying
it
that
happens to be a hip hop song, but it's culturally relevant to
it
everybody.
happens
It's not
to be a
culturally.
hip hop song?
No. "Lose Yourself" is culturally relevant to specifically hip hop.
What? Wow, because he's talking about being nervous at a rap battle and vomiting his spaghetti?
It's literally a
No,
song
no,
about
no, no,
rap,
no, no.
Mike.
What Summertime is about, let me flip this back real quick. Summertime is a flip on Cool in the Gang, black culture once again. Summertime is about actually going out here kicking it with your people at a barbecue. He's talking about what we do on a regular summer day. How is that more cultural? How is what Eminem's talking about spitting up spaghetti more culturally relevant than that shit?
Because Ice Cube did the same shit on Good Day, and it's a better
Okay,
record.
just because he did it doesn't mean that
So we
it's
put two of the same records on the list now.
Yeah, they're two different artists with two different feels and two different stories. Yes,
Okay, so two of the same songs on the top 50.
they're
list.
not the same songs.
They are the same song. They're
So
both
you're
about a
telling me
summertime
Good Day and
They're both
Summertime are
about
the
They're
same
both
song?
three verses about a summertime day.
Yeah,
Same
what's wrong
damn
with
song.
that?
They're both taking a fucking sample. They were both
What's wrong
released
with that?
damn near the same year.
So you're saying, so now you want to say
One's
Lose
about a
Yourself
summer
is
day in LA, one's about a summer day in Philly. That's the only fucking difference.
great songs.
Same songs.
So you rather hear, a guy nervous about going to a rap battle and he can't hold his
I
spaghetti
just
down?
know, man.
Is that more culturally relevant somehow?
I mean, I'm the guy that sits up here and tries to tell people that Will Smith is a great rapper, but if we're doing a cultural piece about who is more culturally relevant as a MC, yes, I'm going to take "Lose
What's
Yourself" by
the
Eminem.
better song?
Okay, I see I'm not allowed to talk. Okay.
Okay. Let me get to the super
No, I
chat.
see I'm not allowed to talk, Mike, because every time I start talking, you start talking.
Go
So
ahead,
I'm
go
just gonna
ahead,
be quiet.
go ahead.
No. Go ahead and go to the super chats. It's all good.
Just You Run with the super chat says, know a Tribe Called Quest scenario. Everyone brings their A game, and it's the most famous for the breakout performances by Busta Rhymes. I thought about Buddy, and I honestly, was like, Symphony is the posse cut that had to make it. Leroy Green with the super chat says, my bad, Just Blaze said it was for Busta and Prodigy. I could have actually heard Busta on You Don't Know. I could hear that, especially Busta in 2000. 36 Chambers says, so if we're saying a small artist can't have a top 50 all-time song, then we can't say that Jay-Z doesn't have a top 50 song. We can't do both. Also, the choice is yours, the top 50 over most Jay-Z songs. Let's see. Eric Terrell says, I was there. Gin and Juice made Snoop a legend. I'm with that. And again, that was tough too. Gin and Juice is definitely up there, but What's My Name was the pick. At least
you don't have Gin and Juice on your list?
I don't.
Mike, it was number one on the rap charts for 6 months straight. It is the main reason Doggy Style sold 5 million records. This is what I'm talking about.
Oh, I'm not mad at that.
No, Mike, your rationale is all over the place for Mike.
Again, this is a rough list, and this is made to discuss. I'm not mad at Gin and Juice being considered, but Lose Yourself, Jesus. Curtis75 with the super chat says, you're supposed to pick Top Billing over Hard Knock Life. The choice is yours is Black's biggest hit, but the album and other songs dropped were dope too. Yeah. Black Sheep has some dope records. I mean, it's kind of like what Montel Jordan suffered from. Like, you got some good songs, but you got this one song that's just a monster, and we can't knock guys for that. DJ Bruce Almighty says, Mike, you don't believe Stan was dope? I thought it was cool. I think it's overrated, definitely. I think that Scarface has made Stan a million times. 36 Chambers with the $20 super chat says, M's Lose Yourself is part of why K-Dot, Logic, Hopsin, Joyner Lucas, and others rap. Thank God for that, right? Mike, the impact is even deeper than you think. Not an M fan, but you hating. The song's impact shifted meme culture too. You bugging. Yeah, we need meme culture. Spaghetti. JB was here with the super chat, says best versus most important or anthology. Best versus most important or anthology, huh? Well, I mean, best is an opinion, right? Most important, we can somehow quantify that. It would be long discussions, but, we can somehow quantify that. 36 Chambers of the super chat says, Mike got me standing up for M, but I'm going to get you quantifiable data on Lose Yourself and why it's 40 through 50 spot. Okay. Let's see, one more thing. Leroy Green with the super chat says, you're both right about Summertime and Lose Yourself. How are we both right?
No, what I'm trying to tell you is that maybe I said this wrong. Okay, so if you feel like Summertime's a better record, you can totally have that. I'm probably going to play Summertime more than Lose Yourself, seeing how I've been one of the main people in the so-called pod space that have actually been reminding people that Will Smith is a dope rapper. I don't hear any other podcaster say as frequently as I said that Will Smith is a dope rapper. So please don't attack me about Will or about Summertime.
That's why I'm surprised in you, because
no. That's what I'm saying. But that's also why people have no right to sit up there and pull up on me. That just lets me know you haven't been watching this podcast for its 3 years of existence, because it'll be 3 years on Friday. Maybe you all should go look at some of our prior episodes. There's plenty of information about me giving Will Smith props. This, however, is not the day, because I made my list a little bit different and based on some things a little bit differently. And all I'm trying to tell you is that what the song, what the MC is rooted in, I find to be more culturally relevant overall than a barbecue theme song. You're damn right.
Okay.
And I'm
You ready to
entitled
get
to
to your
that
list?
opinion, especially for somebody that's come on this show for years and lauded Will Smith's rap ability and how he doesn't get enough respect. You don't get to pull up on me because I have hit my first criticism of him in 3 years. Like, it don't work that way. So don't think that you're about to.
Man, I didn't realize Friday's going to be 3 years, man. We got to do something
Friday's going to
special.
be 3 years.
That's awesome. You ready to get to your list? You got it in front of you? You want me to go down the line?
No. I can pull it up right quick.
Okay. I was going to put it on the screen for people, but I know it's your list, so you know.
No. You can put it on the screen. I just I'm just gonna be able. I just want to be able to look at it and go through it while you're like putting it up on the screen because I'm not watching the show.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
you want me to get you want me to get the Esquire super chat while you get that?
Yeah. Go ahead. It ain't gonna take me nothing but a second. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I got
Esquire said,
already. Yes,
"Juicy is arguably the greatest hip hop song of all time. Definitely the most quotable. Even the most casual fan of all generations can recite it bar for bar." Now,
see, this is what
I agree with that. Go ahead. I
do agree with that too. So let's go to Juicy. Juicy's not on my list. It's not on your list. You want to know why?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's on my top 50 hit list, Mike. Because the cultural relevance of Big and what Big represented for me, well, you don't necessarily find it on Juicy. Now, you find a lot of quotable stuffs and a lot of formulaic things that make a great hit record.
Yeah,
it's
and it was made to be a hit record.
If you want to talk about rap's biggest hit, no, that's possibly it. But hit, Mike, just like I Got Five on It is like a formulaic hit record, like Hot in Here, hit record. That's what I mean. It's like I realize it's like culturally those songs are not as relevant to people inside of this culture. It's more relevant to people outside of this culture. It's about the people that exist inside first. And so the hit list deserves a second list, in my opinion. That's why stuff like Summertime and Hot in Here are not on my list because it finds itself more culturally relevant outside of the sphere of hip hop than inside the sphere of hip hop. Mike, Eminem with Lose Yourself, that's the one time that he made an actual great song that found itself more culturally relevant inside the sphere of hip hop than out.
So? You think so?
Yes, as far as because Mike, the relatability of the topic. Like this is what I'm saying. It's the first time that he picked some subject matter, really, where it's like, no. No matter how you feel about it, Mike, that's some rap shit. It's his perspective on some rap shit. It's not the normal perspective. But for an aspiring MC, the subject matter. That's different than him doing Stan. Stan steps outside the box, The Way I Am, Without Me. Even forgot about Dre to agree. No. That's stuff that kind of stretches outside the box. No, Lose Yourself is inside the hip hop box.
I think where I struggle too, and I think Lose Yourself is his best song, and I think I predicted when they were doing the Super Bowl that he was going to perform that because that's his record. That's the record, and probably the only record that he can perform in his 50s that he has, from his prime era. But where I struggle is like, I like Hustler's Ambition more, and it's like, and I think that's because
the 50 record?
Yeah.
Me too,
and
but we some rap dudes, Mike.
But it's like, if this record is top 50 like that, it shouldn't be that easy for somebody like 50 to make a better record. You know what I mean?
No, 50.
That's a better record. This?
I'll tell you something, Mike. You know how we talked about Nelly and like that isolated hit making ability?
Yeah, 50's a monster, yeah.
No, 50 like that too, especially in his prime.
On a street level and on a mainstream level.
No, Mike, you heard the hooks on Get Rich or Die Trying. It's all 50's hooks.
All of them.
And the hooks on Buck album. And the hooks on Banks albums. Yeah. And the hooks on Games album.
Yeah. 50
he did that in like a 4 or 5 year stretch. So when you're talking like, 50 made a better record than M, Mike, and you know how I feel about 50 sometimes. 50 had like a 4 or 5 year run where there wasn't nobody making better records than 50. What we talking?
No.
Period. Like in rap, that's Jay and Nas included. They wasn't making better records than 50.
This is what I want to say about
hustler?
Juicy.
I'm a bona fide hustler. Nigga, get out of line. I cut ya. Me, I'm about my paper. It's fuck ya. If you get out of line, I'm about... They say heaven for church goers and hell's for the heathen. So I'ma just ball the fuck out while I'm breathing. Eighth after eighth. What you know about that fast flip? Crack spot, smoky fiend sucking on that glass stick. Man, Sham State asking for a dime for 9. I tell you what, I hook you up this one last time. No, that nigga was going in, Mike.
Yo,
He was
50 was
snapping
dope.
on everything. He was snapping on everything moving.
All right, I don't know how old Esquire is, but I feel like, and again, when Juicy came out, I was 12. I think that you remember we used to record, tapes off the radio and stuff. I was trying to record Everyday Thing off the radio, Bone or whatever, and and before the record would even play on the radio, they played a whole bunch of other stuff. But anyway, Juicy ended up being the first song on my tape. It was Juicy, Mac 10's For Life, and then I think I finally found them play, Bone Everyday Thing. And with that being said, Juicy was the start of my, recording shit off the radio thing. And I love Juicy, but I feel like at the time, every record that Biggie was putting out was bigger than the next. So it wasn't like Juicy was the record that just is as big as it is now. I feel like when Biggie had his untimely demise, they went back and start playing Juicy more because it was a record that told you a little bit more about him and his comeuppance. And I feel like that the elevation of that record has a lot to do with the fact that Big's no longer here. Now, it's not to knock that record or whatever, but when he dropped One More Chance, that was the record. Like, you're like, yo, that's a perfect song. He even says it on himself. One more chance of some other shit. He knows that's the one.
I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to tell you what. Obviously, One More Chance made my list. I'm assuming it made yours.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Of course.
The remix. Now, let me tell you what. That record, Mike, and I realize this, it's like that record is so special because it's rare that somebody who might be your best overall MC gives a mic performance like that.
Exactly.
On a hit record, Mike.
Exactly.
Like, it's not just the fact that it ain't no regular hit, Mike. It's one of our best hits.
Yeah.
It's one of our biggest hits, Mike. It's one of his best rap performances.
And that first verse, man, and it's like, I mean, I loved it when I first heard it, man. Yeah, any verse. But the first verse extends past 16 bars. He didn't even give you the 16, 16, 16. He going 24 bars on the first verse, and you don't even care. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, at that time, nobody could have done that in rap. You know what I'm saying? Nobody could have spit like that on a hit record that the radio was gonna play like that. That shit was perfect, man.
Mike, for all of his hits, and he's got a lot.
Yeah. In
a very short amount of time, Mike, that hit hovers above the rest of the hits in a way that a superstar's catalog, no other hit hovers above a superstar's catalog the way that it hovers around his. Like, when you say Dear Mama, it's like, no. Keep your head up, so many tears, pour out a little liquor, pain. No. It's not far off. No, One More Chance is like a step above Juicy, Get Money, play his anthem, pick a remix, You Can't Stop the Rain, Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo Problems, like all that shit. Like, it's a step up. Mike, lyrically, I'm supposed to represent. I'm not only a client. Mike, when he said that shit, you would never it was like, oh.
I was 12 or 13 when I heard that record, and when I think I saw the video first because it was the remix. It wasn't on the album at the time. That might have been the first rap song that I heard where I was like, I gotta learn the words to this song.
They debuted it on BET Jams. It was the debut on BET Jams. That was the first time that No, BET. Remember the Video Soul Top 20? Like, remember when they still did it and they would do the preview record?
Yeah.
I remember that was the preview record. I used to have to watch my younger brothers and sisters because my mom worked late. It came down on the countdown. You know, they used to do it like in the top 5, but that was the first time I seen it. And it was like the full extended clip, like where they walking up to the door and Heb's opening up the door and like all that shit.
And he's sitting on the stairs snapping,
He's just sitting on the stairs snapping. First things first.
I pop up. Freaks all the honeys, dummies, Playboy bunnies, those wanting money.
It's one of rap's best moments, man.
It's incredible, man.
It's one of rap's best moments.
And so for me, and I respect Juicy, and again, now I agree with you on that hit record in that light. When you look at those two records, and we did look at those two records back then because, they came out around a similar time.
Big Papa.
That's just the superior record, excuse me.
Superior
It's just superior to, like you said.
The closest hit record to it that he was a part of is probably, I would say, Get Money.
All About the Benjamins. I thought you were gonna
All
go
About the
there.
Benjamins or the Crush on You remix, where he got the hook work.
I got All About the Benjamins on the list.
You're damn right.
Yeah, great record.
Mike. Of all the hit records, that's the best bar work on a hit record ever in rap history. Like I was checking, it's like, no, that's the best bar work that you're gonna find on a hit record, like in rap history, like outside of Cream. Like, but I don't count Cream as like the type of hit record that like All About the Benjamins is.
It's a hit posse cut. Yeah. Let me get to these super chats and we'll get to your list. I'm sorry, we kind of went off course, but I did want to address the Juicy thing because I think that's blaring on both of our lists. Mr. J. Davis.
One more chance.
Right. Mr. J. Davis with the super chat says, why can March Madness make the list, but Juicy can't? Future may have impact, but at some point we have to consider it as detrimental. Huh.
Oh, I could tell you that about Jay right now and all the hustling and all the balling and all the lack of.
Well, we could say that about a lot of Biggie records too.
Right. I can tell you that about NWA if I wanted to. You feel me?
Yeah, Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roy Wana with the super chat says 50 Cent ABC raps were commercial trash. Banks is better than 50.
That's like saying I want. You know what? Too Short is really tearing down the female community with all this pimp talk, man.
Esquire with the super chat.
Thinking needs to stop.
Esquire with the super chat says Juicy One More Chance remix. Cream G Thing. Mind Playing Tricks on Me. Top 5. Common denominator. Quotables. Catchy. Lyrical and timeless. Hit records that transcend generations. All boxes checked. I'm not mad at that. And again, I understand people having, Juicy at that level. But again, I guess I might just be jaded by the times that, I remember when it came out. Because Big just kept outdoing Juicy. And it feels like now, let's just say based on how people view Juicy now, he wouldn't have been able to outdo that record in the way that he did if that record was that record. You know what I'm saying?
How about this? And I mean this respectfully, and I still think Juicy is big, and it is, and so is Big Papa.
Yeah.
But had he continued on the pace that it appeared that he was pacing on, like it would be right now, we would be talking about, be like, man, remember those records that helped kick off Big's career?
Right.
Remember Juicy and Big Papa? It wouldn't be like, oh my God. It'd be like, hey, remember those hit records he made on Ready to Die that helped like kick shit off before the One More Chance remix? Oh yeah, Juicy and Big Papa. So it's like,
right.
No, Juicy and Big Papa are sometimes glorified. Great records, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Great records. But yeah, are they sometimes glorified because he's not here? It's like, yeah, I told you, Mike, like as much as I don't care for More Money, More Problems, like how can you hear the dude that's spitting that verse on More Money, More Problems and then tell me that you prefer Big Papa, B-I-G-P-O-P-P-A? No, he's skating. This motherfucker, he like, Mom, no hands now. Look at me. Like, ain't nobody fucking with me. Like, Mom, look behind my back, watch. You know what I'm saying? Like,
One More Chance is just a perfect.
Like that and be like, yeah, I want to hear. No, I want to hear him skate. He skate on More Money, More Problems. Mike, sometimes I just deal with Puff and Mace for about 2 minutes. Mike, I literally will tune them niggas out to wait for his part. You're like, there we go. B-I-G-P-O-P. Yeah.
I like the still tipping, comment that somebody left. That's
I thought about still tipping.
I should have thought about that one.
I thought about still tipping.
And you know what? Let me write that down because again, like I said, our list isn't done. I mean, we're trying to come with a according to hip hop list just based on our individual list. And that's why we're debating about it now because we want to see, where I'm tripping, where Coop's tripping, and what we're leaving out. Because I think we got, for the most part, all of the songs that are in this conversation.
I don't think we're missing much.
Ready to talk about your list?
There's something about you. I'm going to tell you the only thing that really bothered me, and it's crazy that I'm saying this. So I'm going to say this before we start my list. Slick Rick is on my list 3 times, and I felt bad about leaving Mona Lisa off. Man, that man is great. That man is great.
I felt bad about leaving Lottie Dottie off. And
I couldn't do that in clear conscience or the show. They're too big. Mike, they're the 2 most sampled hip-hop songs ever. 1 and 2. You can't leave the 1 and 2 most sampled hip-hop songs ever off of a greatest hip-hop anything list. Like, they make all the lists. Like, the show and Lottie Dottie make all the lists because everybody else literally has taken from it, and there's evidence.
I think there's only, well, Eric B and Rakim have 2 songs on my list, and I originally had 3 Slick Rick involved songs on the list, and I had to just cut through it. But Eric B and Rakim got 2 on there. I think Snoop's technically on there like 3 times.
He's on there 4 times on mine.
Yeah, he's on there with What's My Name, and I didn't even put Gin and Juice on there, and he's still on there 3 times. He's
Mike,
on there with G Thing.
Like, I may have left Summertime off, Mike. You left Gin and Juice off, like, for real, Mike?
I did, because I got What's My Name on there.
You know Gin and Juice is a better record than What's My Name, right?
I don't think it is, but again, I'm not mad at that assessment. It's a more successful record, yes. But when I listened to both, I did this. I sat down.
I think the beat's better to What's My Name.
I did this yesterday, Coop. I was actually sitting around with DJs when I was coming up with this list, and we were playing songs. And I played Gin and Juice, and I played What's My Name.
You playing them,
and I played them back to back, and people was like, "Yeah, that's the one."
That's the DJ, Mike. The DJ will have you fucked up. They're always gonna choose the bounce.
No, I heard what I heard too. I agree with it.
Always gonna choose the bounce, Mike. Gin and Juice doesn't have the bounce. And this is what I mean about the songs list. Like, and I've said this is like, none of these songs or any of these rappers' best songs, in my opinion. Like, if you told me Seen a Man Die by Scarface was his best song, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to give you that. But after that, Mike, I would tell you that this is any of these dudes' best songs necessarily. It's like, I know this for a fact, Mike, I've said this. It's like, man, Murder Was the Case in the Shiznit better than fucking What's My Name and Gin and Juice. Period.
I disagree, but I feel
Mike, both of those beats are better. The rhymes is better. The hook game on fucking Murder Was the Case and the back and forth with the... No. Give me Murder Was the Case and the Shiznit just as songs over fucking Gin and Juice. Mike, I skipped Gin and Juice to get to the Shiznit and Murder Was the Case. Stop playing with me.
Well, I don't skip Who Am I. Now, I have skipped Gin and Juice, but...
I skip Who Am I too, Mike. Sometimes I just want to...
No, that's the record.
Mixed up world. It's a doggy dog. Sometimes I just want to gig, Mike. You know what I mean?
I mean, you know, look, I know you lean...
That's early pimp. That's early Snoop talk. Like, you know, early pimp talk from Snoop Doggy Dogg world.
Yeah, I think that's where his image was being molded into something that he could have continued on. Now, I know you lean more to bar work and mic performances and, you know, to some degree, B-sides. And I don't want to say B-sides as in album songs, but some of the lesser, I guess, crossover level album singles, rather. Not album
I don't think
songs,
I did that on this list. So
okay,
can we go through my list now that you said that? Because this is what I mean about, I feel like I picked the important stuffs or the important moments from the important artists.
Okay.
I got Let Me See It by UGK. Mind Playing Tricks on Me by the Ghetto Boys. Seen a Man Die by Scarface. Players Ball by Outkast. I chose Players Ball over Bombs Over Baghdad. Because, and here's how I looked at it, and I thought specifically about this record, and this is like at the core of what I really felt inside about my list. And I was on the south side today, Mike, like I just got home. Like literally like 15 minutes for the podcast, I got home.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, you know this for a fact. Now, if I go to the south side of the east side like I'm known to do when I play Bombs Over Baghdad, is people gonna nod their head? Yeah, Mike. When I ride through the neighborhood and I play Players Ball, no, that's different. And we know it, like we from down here. Like Bombs Over Baghdad is a better song than Players Ball. But to the Outkast fan, the fan that made them who they are, like, you cannot feed them motherfuckers no Bombs Over Baghdad over Players Ball. And I got to ride around the neighborhood. No. And they ain't going to knock Bombs Over Baghdad, but when you play Players Ball, it's different. They look at you different.
I'm going to say this, and I agree with you.
They point at you like...
I'm going to say this, and I agree with you. I think Bombs Over Baghdad is technically Outkast's best song. Not their most successful song, and honestly, not their most grassrooted song either. So me putting that on the list was honestly a risky pick. I kind of threw the rule book out of the window for that one and just went with a great song. And that might be the most questionable pick that I think I even got on my list. Yes, I'm saying that about Outkast. Bombs Over Baghdad is the most questionable pick. That if somebody saw that, they'll be like, well, Where is your criteria at? I threw the rule book out for Bombs Over Bad
That's
Dad.
what I'm saying. So, Mike, that's what I'm saying. So, this is how I looked at it, and this is what I mean about how I made it a cultural piece. Well, if I'm riding through Port Arthur, Texas, Mike, I'm not playing International Players Anthem. I'm playing Murder and Let Me See It. You feel what I'm saying? If I'm riding, Mike, and I know this because I've lived in Cali before, it's like, no, Mike, when I used to have to ride through LA, like, no. Cut that Cali shit on so that these niggas know that we fuck with them and that we cool, we on Georgia tags. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like, nah, fam, I ain't playing no sensual seduction when I'm sitting up there on Wilshire and Sepulveda about to go to the motherfucking swap meet. Like, the shit is not happening. But I am playing fucking gin and juice. You know what I'm saying? I am playing nothing but a G thing. Mike, what you gonna find? Them niggas playing that shit too. Like, still to this day. Cali totally different though. Yeah. That's a whole nother different vibe. Cell Therapy by Goody Mob, Mike. Yeah, I think
I got that.
Yeah. What I've realized about this record, you want to know what? That was probably my toughest pick, Mike, because what I realized when I listened to that record, Mike, that's one of the best beats of all time nobody talks about.
I agree.
It's one of the best beats of all time nobody talks about. And I don't want to overstate this. I just kind of want to state this properly. In a lot of ways to us, it's our Southern version of Fight the Power.
Yeah. I mean, from a subject matter standpoint, nobody was taking it there, and not to mention taking it there on a single.
Like everybody before Goody Mob down here, and this is what I mean about the impact of it. Every Southern group down here that was great before Goody, well, it's Space Age Pimpin', Tear the Club Up, Let Me See It, Mind Playing Tricks on Me, Players Ball. Cell Therapy was the shock to the Southern system.
Yeah.
Like Cell Therapy shocked all of us, even down here. It's like, oh shit. You know, like
these niggas on
even
some
for
other
brothers
shit.
like you and me that was well read and informed as young men, it was like one of those records. It's like, oh, there are other brothers down here that are reading and up on game about stuff like that. They, you know what I mean? And so they were very much ahead of the curve. And that beat is just stupid, Mike. That
when Soul Food came out, when the album
and the
came
hook,
out,
Mike. Go ahead. No.
I was gonna say when Soul Food came out, I was more of a Goody Mob fan than I was an Outkast fan.
Well, Mike. Well, it's one of rap's best hooks ever, too, Mike. That's what I mean. It's like, well, if you actually go to what makes a record big, it's like it's usually the message. It's like, well, check. It's like it's usually the beat. It's like double check. It's like it's usually the hook. Triple check.
Yeah.
Who don't know that hook? Who's that peeking in my window? Ow. The video, Mike, with the fucking Hiroshima bomb blowing up and how CeeLo was at the gate of the community when he was really like spitting the rhymes, Gip at the fucking corner store, like the whole visual aid of it with the homies outside, like all of that. It was like, boom. So Cell Therapy, what you know about T.I., Mike, I still think that's like, you know, that was the first time that I thought like that a Southern rapper by himself made some like a stadium song where it's like, no, it's stadium music from a Southern rapper.
Epic.
Yeah, it was epic. It's like What You Know was the first time that I felt like a rapper from the South, definitely from Atlanta, made a whole movie by himself with one song. It's like when it came on, it was like, what the fuck is that? It's like it was like his entrance. It was like a coronation ceremony when you hear What You Know.
Very King-ish, and you know, being the first single on the album King, it's very fitting.
It was special, man. What You Know was special,
yeah,
Mike.
Great memories of that record.
Great memories of that record. March Madness, Mike. It's just Future got more kids than anybody from this generation, and it's his seminal moment. I just couldn't deny the record. Yeah. Like, I prefer Mask Off, but it's like, I played March Madness today this morning just to make sure I wasn't tripping. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, that shit crazy. Who did that? 808 did that, right?
I think so.
Shit crazy, Mike. That's like when you can go listen to that record now and it's like, well, that's everybody. Like, that's where all the children come from.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's where everybody got impregnated. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like ain't nothing but kids come after that song. You know what I'm saying? I put Ha, Mike. I know you put Back That Ass Up, but this is what I mean. And this is what I mean about riding around the neighborhood. It's like, well, if we was in New Orleans, Ha, Mike.
I'm not mad at that. I struggle with that too because for me, I think Ha's the better record. Obviously,
it is, and that's what I'm saying.
Up is the more timeless record.
But 400 Degrees, Juvenile, Cash Money, Mike, BG, Wayne, Turk, Baby, Manny. That record's the reason. the $30 million distribution deal. No, that record, the reason
It
above
is.
all the records, Mike.
That record built Cash Money Records.
That record got this guy who was trying to control the game, that wasn't in control of the game at the time, by the name of Jay-Z, to even come down and do a remix for it. It was so serious.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Back That Ass Up wasn't even the second single. I think Follow Me Now was the second single, I believe, and then Back That Ass Up. So they were all in on High.
And here's the thing. Everybody wasn't all in on High, Mike. I wasn't all in on High.
No, I'm talking about Cash Money was all in on High.
My brother Vidal, God bless his soul, he used to be an MC. We went to high school together. He passed a couple years ago. God bless his soul. I remember when he came, we ran into each other like we used to every morning. He used to come out from the cafeteria. I used to be coming from the back way because I lived in the neighborhood where West Charlotte was located. I'll never forget, he was in his Army fatigue jacket he'd be in every day. And he had his headphones. He was bobbing his head stupid. And I just stopped. I'm like, nigga, what are you listening to? He put it in my ear, and I was like, you listening to this shit? He looked at me, he said, Coop, you fucking bugging. He said, this hot shit, nigga. He said, this shit real. I'll never forget when he told me that.
Now, you want to talk about a great hook, right? You're a paper chaser. You got your block on fire. Remain in the G until the moment you expire. You know what it is. They make nothing out of something. You handle your biz. You don't be crying and be suffering. Like, whoa. And then the shit that he's saying on there, like, it's like, and then the beat is insane. I still think that's Manny's best beat. And that's saying a lot, because Manny got a lot of great ones. Big Ballin's one of my favorites, but from a technical standpoint.
Number One Stunner comes to mind as far as beats, Mike. Between Number One Stunner and High, I would tell you.
Yeah. Back That Ass Up too, but High is different, man. We never heard anything like that shit. That was the thing about it. We had never heard anything like that.
There's nothing close to. That's why I picked High.
I'm with that.
Like, oh no.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Is like I picked moments like that. It's like no, that changed everything. Like think about it. If High doesn't get made, does Wayne, BG, and Juvenile, Cash Money, Baby, like think about everything that's come from it. That affects Young Money.
You're right.
That affects Nicki and Drake.
It does. No, I agree.
That's how important High is.
Now, that one, I would love for us to have a discussion on that one. But, I mean, I'm with you on that. I feel like
Mike, when I thought about it, I was like, man, High might be top 20. Like, fuck like making the list. High might be top 20. Like, motherfuckers ain't in the game and not eating if that record don't get made.
But the problem here is, Coop, is the fact that Back That Ass Up might be one of the most timeless hip hop songs ever. Like, so it's like, if Back That Ass Up doesn't exist, it's no question I'm putting High on there. But the fact that Back That Ass Up is one of those records that we're probably going to hear until the end of time, it's like, wow, he might have two. Like, legit have two.
How about this? I would tell you what. On the hit list side, I would put Back That Ass Up ahead of High, but I would be hard pressed not to put High on the hit list too.
Yeah, of course.
Because that shit, Mike, that shit had legs when it was alive, and it has legs today, and it matters. It has everything that a top tier all time great single has. Like, how about this? I'll go a step further. It might be the most important song that ever came out of the South outside of Mind Playing Tricks on.
It's one of them. You're right.
Understating that.
It's up there. It's up there. And what I was gonna say is, people need to understand that Juvenile was a star before Back That Ass Up was even released off of High. Matt Max with the super chat says, "Oh, and Dreams and Nightmares is a song pro teams walk out to this day. So you're gonna bump a record off for it. So you're gonna bump a record off for it. This is criminal." Okay, I think we're gonna end up having to consider Dreams and Nightmares because it's one of those records that's super important to a generation too.
Not because Mad Max said so. We're not doing it.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are talking about Dreams and Nightmares. CJ Kid with the super chat says, "Would love it if you ran this hit through a system like you do the rappers list to determine the best hip hop record. What would be the criteria?"
Well, I'm about to say, let me get through my list, and then maybe we can start discussing the criteria so we can parse from your list and my list and start putting it together. I got Get Low by Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, Mike, and I'm going to tell you why.
Go ahead.
Remember when we were having the Bad and Bougie talk?
Yeah.
That record was actually Bad and Bougie before Bad and Bougie, and I think it actually took the city more than Bad and Bougie did, and not because I was outside. Like, I think if you go to that, like, remember, like, when people feel like the South took over?
It does kind
I
of
think
start with that record.
Get Low is the moment, Mike.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what I mean.
Because
Is like I picked the most impactful moments, not just from the artist, but like culture-wise. It's like, no. Get Low was the song, was the tipping point song where it's like, oh, the South got shit on lock
can I give a
right
little
now.
bit of backstory because
Please do.
I do have some experience with
I'm
that
about to say,
album and that record.
yep, you
This
sure do.
was this is when I was actually in radio and I was running around with Scorpio. Shout out to him, and he did promotions for Lil Jon. So when Kings of Crunk came out, we were riding around with Lil Jon the whole day. Went to Greenbrier and then ended up at his show at the Roxy out in Buckhead. And so the singles were I Don't Give a Fuck with Mystical and
Crazy.
Crazy Bone and all of that. I want to say Play No Games was second. And the album was doing well, right? And it was doing, I kind of looked at it almost like it's an independent album because it's Lil Jon, right? You know what I'm saying? And we've known Lil Jon for years and years because he's always given us regional hits. But when Get Low came out, this is when, from my standpoint, I saw other regions starting to play Lil Jon. This is when the Dave Chappelle joke came in and all of that stuff. And then this whole thing about Atlanta taking over New York radio kind of starts with Get Low.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I didn't have the
Get
record
Low's
on
the
my
record,
list.
Mike.
It's important, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is it's like,
Yeah.
so that's what I mean. Is it's like, no, can the Loonies get in? It's like, no, like, how about this? Get Low is why I didn't put the Loonies in, because I got 5-1 that didn't do for the fucking Bay what fucking like Get Low did for Atlanta and for the South. I
Now,
watched
this is
it
my
happen,
gripe.
so did you.
This is my gripe, and I'm close to this record. I don't feel like Get Low aged that well, and I think it was something for the times, and that's why I probably left it off and didn't think of it in that way. I don't think it carried over. It gave its impact in the moment, but I don't know how well it had staying power.
No, I hear you, Mike. I hate to be the one to break it to you. Boys in the Hood by Eazy-E sound like 1987.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm okay with it. You feel what I'm saying?
I
Like
didn't
sometimes
include
we
that
just have to
record.
accept it for what it is. No, Mike, the Freaks came out. No, that sound like 83, 84. Ain't that 83, 84?
Yeah, it still
Yeah, it
sounds
sounds
really
like
good,
it, Mike.
though.
Mike, I'm gonna tell you what. It's rare that a song literally transcends the times. I'm gonna tell you what, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Prince fan. When Doves Cry came on my playlist today, Mike, and I realized that the reason that it's my favorite song is that production-wise, it's so far ahead of everything that anybody that's not a fucking Jackson is doing, quite frankly, like Janet or Michael. Like production-wise, it's just ahead. No, you can play it, but like production-wise, like Mike, it has that nothing but a G thing factor to the quality of the production and the beat. It's like, no. You can play it up against the stuff that got made 20 years after it, and production-wise, it still sounds fresher and crisper and newer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's rare that you get that out of an all-time great song. No, Summertime sound like 92. Mine Playing Tricks on Me sound like 88, 89, 90. Like, it sounds like the time. What's My Name sound like 92, 90? No, it sounds like the times.
I don't know, man.
It's rare, Mike. I'll tell you what, Deep
well,
Cover.
Though.
How about this, Mike? Deep Cover, to me, time-wise, sounds more timeless than all the other Dre stuff that made the list. If you're talking about just the way it sounds, it's like Deep Cover is the hardest one to identify time-wise. It's like, man, I don't know when he made that shit. I just know that shit hard.
I mean, I feel like that about Electric Relaxation and Award Tour too. But
yes, I can tell you
but
that. But
again, Bonita does sound like the early 90s, but it's like they still translate well. And I don't know if I feel like that about Get Low because the sounds changed or something. But I don't feel like that about like Back That Ass Up or whatever. Like, even though I could tell it was made in the 90s, it still translates better than a record like Get Low does. But again,
I get what
that's
you're saying.
personal opinion, but everything you're saying, you're right. I mean, everybody knows Get Low. It's a very important record. If you put that beat on, everybody knows every single word, from the window to the wall, all that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, and this is what I'm saying. Well, if that's the moment that the South took it, I can't think of one song Because I was down here and so were
It's
you.
2 records. That song and Never Scared. I think those are the 2 records that New York.
It took Never Scared longer to get to where Get Low was.
And I have a story about Never Scared too, and I'm pretty sure I've told it on this show. Actually, that same night when we were at the Roxy,
I remember
Bone
the tape.
Crusher came up to us, gave me one of those blank CDs it was written on. He's like, check out my single or whatever. Get to the car, and I'm like, oh shit, Killer Mike and T.I. on this song. And I want to say it had to be some time that passed, and then the song ends up on 106 in Park. Well, I mean, Bone Crusher signed to So Def. Then the song gets to 106 in Park, and then it's everywhere. But yeah, I feel like Get Low was well before that, and it had to be. But again, Get Low was the 3rd single. I need to find out chronologically, but I know Get Low was made first, but I don't know which one really started taking off first. I feel like it was around a similar time, though.
See, but this is what I'm saying, and here's why I picked Get Low. No, Mike, it shook the national scene, but I was outside and so were you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a record that I've heard in a club, Mike, it used to shake the clubs.
You're right.
When it would come on.
Yeah.
No. Not move the club, not get the crowd hype. Mike, the club would be moving.
Yeah, you're
like
right.
The floor would be shaking. Like bartenders couldn't pour drinks because the glasses would start moving and rattling and shit.
I think that's a good pick, man. I didn't pick it,
Mike,
but yeah.
not in one spot, but in multiple spots, I saw that happen live. And Mike, this is when Yeah's out. I was out Whisper Song, all them Luda hits, all them T. No, nothing like that. Nothing shook the club like that song.
Not even Salt Shaker. And I like Salt Shaker better as a song.
Nothing like that. Nothing.
Yeah. DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says, Method Man, you're all I need. You got that, right? Okay.
Yeah, I got that.
Let's get through your list, and then we can talk more.
It's Funky Enough by the DOC, Mike. Okay. It's just one of the best rap songs ever, period, point blank. And it's a big hit record. I love It's Funky Enough by the DOC. And this is what I mean. No. That's why the Loonies, I got 5 on it, didn't make it on there. You telling me I got 5 on it's better than It's Funky Enough? No, it's not. On any level. Pick the level. What level you want?
I'm not mad at you for saying that, but I don't know. I think it's more debatable than you think.
It's more catchy. Mike, if catchy is all you got and I have you on every other thing, then I have the superior record.
It's Funky Enough is the better record. You're right. It is. You're right.
What's My Name by Snoop? Gin and Juice by Snoop. Nothing But a G Thing, Dre and Snoop. It's just easy.
Snoop.
Mike, my biggest problem is not putting Deep Cover on here. I was like, man, if I put Deep Cover on here, we're going to be 4 deep with Dre and Snoop.
Right.
And it's definitely possible. But Mike, my possible was Deep Cover that like I felt like probably should have made my list. Good Day by Ice Cube. Dear Mama by Tupac and California Love by Tupac. Straight Outta Compton. Boys in the Hood. Passing Me By the Far Side. That was one of my kind of like, I got 5 on it or Passing Me By. Give me Passing Me By.
I'm not mad at that. I'm a big
The Light
fan
by
of Far
Common.
Side.
I did kind of sub out Common for Tribe on this.
I you know.
If you want to get on me about Tribe not making my list, you totally have a right to.
I got conflicted about
because here's the thing, Mike. I love Award Tour so much more than I love Electric Relaxation. But for people, and I've realized even hit-wise, Electric Relaxation was like the way bigger record, the way more popular record, and people even feel like that the beat and the song is better. And I just don't agree. And then I went to Bonita, and I'm like, well, what did Bonita do for Tribe? Because if Bonita did that for Tribe, then Award Tour and Electric Relaxation wouldn't be getting waxing poetic about it like that 4 or 5 years after Bonita.
The interesting thing about Tribe's first album is like they're damn near a whole different group than they are on the second and third album, sonically. And Bonita is kind of like a one of one. I think that, you know, again, when you talk about the slang and terminology being in the lexicon and the originality of a guy coming out there damn near doing spoken word and just even the term Bonita Applebaum and the fact that all of it caught on, and if you hear that Roy Ayers sample, you know what it is. Like, it's when you hear that dun, dun, it's like, oh, that's Bonita. Exactly. When the Fugees did it, like, I don't know. Those things are. It's tough to imagine what the world looks like without a song like that. And Pharrell makes it very plain and clear every time he talks. That song changed him. And you can even see Pharrell's whole style in that record. And not to mention all the contributions that Pharrell has made to other people's records. It starts there. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you what, Mike. Do you feel like there's a record that I've named thus far that needs to be subbed out for Benita? Because I actually would agree with your argument about everything that you're saying.
The Light.
What's the record? Like, you would sub out The Light for Benita?
I mean, I would. I mean, that's without going in too deep. But yeah, just off the top of my head, I would say The Light.
I can meet you in the middle of that, because I'll tell you what, and this may be something to speak to about like Common's place in it with the impact. I don't hear nobody fighting for Common and trying to put The Light anywhere or any of his biggest records anywhere, really.
Yeah,
and so
I mean, I used to love on the list.
I'll tell you what I do in the interest of fairness. I'm going to sub out Benita, because I was really conflicted, Mike, because I think Award Tour and Electric Relaxation are just superior songs to Benita, too.
They are. But do they mean more?
No, Benita was the one that I was arguing with. I just couldn't pick because I just find the others, they're so much better to me, in my opinion. But I feel you on the nostalgic like feel and like the bass line, the Roy Ayers sample, the way Lauren and the Fugees flipped it. It's important. I'll sub out Benita for The Light, given your argument. I got Lose Yourself by Eminem. Would you like to say anything, or would you like me to keep going? Good. Like to keep on going. Jesus Walks, Kanye West. Glad we had this talk, Mike.
No, you keep going. I've already said my piece on that record.
The Crossroads remix, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Mike, people don't understand. Yeah. First of all, how big that song was, how great that song is.
It's kind of like one of those juvenile things, right? Thuggish
People try to act like that record didn't get made, Mike. No, they went quadruple platinum off a single.
Thuggish Ruggish Bone was big to us, right? For the Love of Money, it's like, okay, yeah, that's what's up. And then when they came with First of the Month, I'm like, yo, Bone got a hit. And then this song comes, and it's like all that you hear. It's very, and I want to shout out Rocka Shaw with the super chat. He says, it takes two, Jump Around, Summertime, and Gangsta's Paradise. I think Gangsta's Paradise is probably the only song in that time period I heard more than Crossroads. Like, Crossroads is getting played so much, man. MTV loved that record.
I miss my Uncle Charles, y'all. Yeah, everybody walking around saying that.
Yeah, that's one. And then it's just a great song. It's great to see a great song actually be that successful, too.
No, it was a great record.
Yeah.
It's a great record. It's like when they came with that, it's like you said, Mike, Thuggish Ruggish Bone, For the Love of Money. Like, no, that's that shit that we like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what put them on. And keep in mind, that went like double, triple platinum.
Yeah, right.
Right. Little EP, little 7-song EP, double, triple platinum. But Mike, First of the Month, first of all, the only reason that First of the Month isn't on here is because they made the Crossroads remix. Right. Mike, First of the Month was that shit,
yeah.
Mike.
Yeah.
It was a whole thing. I thought about putting First of the Month on here.
The hook. I could say this about Crossroads.
Mike, the bar work, it's very, very rare that you find bar work like that on a single like that.
I was going to say, Crossroads and First of the Month, and I could even say that about the album they made before that, the EP they made before that. No group could have made Crossroads but them.
No. Nobody could have made
that but them.
First of the Month?
Yeah. Nobody could have made First of the Month but
one
them.
Of ones.
Yeah.
That's why I thought about First of the Month, because I'm like, ain't nobody doing that again.
Yeah.
First of all, you're not going to get a hit record where they're going to let a group of four get four really verses. Like, they ain't even 16s. Like, them is like 20 bar verses. First of all, I don't know how they doing the math or the arithmetic in Northeast Ohio. I know how Northeast Ohio work with the poverty. So I'm like, these niggas don't know what bars are. They don't care.
They were going in.
They were rapping to the song. It sounds like a 6-minute fucking first single of a rap song. But it was great. No. Shook Ones Part 2, Mobb Deep, self-explanatory. The Message, Melly Mel, self-explanatory. Sucker MCs, Run DMC, self-explanatory. Agree with you on The Freaks Come Out, Mike. Thought about Friends. But man, it's The Freaks Come Out. Because here's the thing about The Freaks Come Out at night. You can play that for the old hip-hop head that has a totally different idea and ideology of what hip-hop means to them. but you can meet them in the middle on the Freaks Come Out at Night. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When they be like, oh, hip hop ain't that, and the NWA and the fucking Biggie and the Tupac and all that. Play the Freaks Come Out at Night for those hip hop fans. They're like, no, that's like that. And that's my shit.
I
That's
feel like the Freaks Come Out at Night is the first hip hop song I remember ever hearing. Like,
How about this?
I know my parents were playing it.
I didn't even realize that it was a rap song until I was older.
Great record. And you know what? Again, I feel you. With Houdini, Friends, and One Love are such great, iconic, impactful records, from the production to the hook. It was very difficult to pick one for them.
Freaks is stadium flow, though. That's the stadium flow.
And, you know, the whole concept, too, because they made some concept records. But I always took the Freaks as being, like, you know what I'm saying, the hip-hop fans. Like, you know, you always catch a freak with at least one glove. Like the people that was going out to the park jams at that time. You know, like...
Ooh,
you know,
I like that
always
contextualization.
Yeah, so it was like, if you want to live a nice, quiet life, do yourself a favor. Don't come out at night. You know, it's like, Freaks are so bad they got their own dance, and it was breaking. And yeah, so I always kind of took the Freaks as being what they looked at as young hip hoppers at that stage. You know what I'm saying?
When you juxtapose it like that, Mike, it makes me look at the song now like it was written in a satirical form.
I think so.
As in, like, almost like a tongue-in-cheek at how the elder generation was viewing the young hip-hop community, like they were abnormal, like they were freaks. Oh, Mike, very insightful.
Exactly.
I like that.
And so that's how I always took the record. And like, and when you even look at the wardrobe back then and how, you know, when you go into the park jams, you was dressing different than the people that were going to the discos who were getting all dressed to the nines. You know what I mean?
Look here. Them old school rap niggas, you want to talk about some flashy, you want to talk about flash, you want to talk about shiny suit era. The real shiny suit era, Mike, is like 81 to 84.
Yeah. I love
real
that
shiny suit era.
I think that's one of the best records ever.
I agree. There's just no denying the record on every level. Rock the Bells by LL Cool J. Once again, we agree. I think we agreed in the middle with a lot of the stuff. Shook Ones, The Message, Sucker MCs, Freaks, Rock the Bells. Now, Mike, Lottie Dottie in the show. I just could not leave the two most sampled hip-hop records of all time outside of my top 50. They're the two most sampled hip-hop records of all time for a reason. Now, Slick Rick is the author of both of these with Dougie Fresh, and so that puts him in here 3 times because Children's Story made this list. I don't give no fuck. I almost put him in here 4 times for Mona Lisa. I like Mona Lisa more than I like 30. I like Mona Lisa more than I like 30 of the records on here easy. You know what I'm saying? I take Mona Lisa over like 30 of these records. It's like, for example, Mike, Jesus Walks. I like Mona Lisa more than Jesus Walks. Okay? Is it more important? No. Is it a better record? To me, it is. But I get everything that goes on and comes with Jesus Walks. So Jesus Walks is one of the reasons that a record like Mona Lisa isn't in. Nobody beats the Biz, Mike. Personal favorite is Vapors, Mike. Nobody beats the Biz. It might be 3rd after the show in Lottie Dottie in terms of how much it's been sampled and taken from. That's why I put it in. It's like, shit, that might be 3rd. Who ain't taking from Nobody Beats the Biz? Who ain't still playing that in the club?
Yo, man, the Native Tongue took Nobody Beats the Biz a lot and flipped it. And yeah, I ended up putting
Everybody take Nobody Beats the Biz.
Huh?
Everybody takes Nobody Beats the Biz. That's what I'm saying. It's like, no. That's part of the kit, Mike. It's like when you're a rapper and you're aspiring from a certain time, it's like, well, we take from the show, we take from Lottie Dottie, we take from Nobody Beats the Biz.
Yeah, even that little Nas clip that's on Nas is like, Nas, yeah, that's Nobody Beats the Biz.
Yeah. Hold on. Well, you know my style off of Streets Disciple. That's the we just went through the record. That's that's the Boys in the Hood flip. That's what I'm saying. No. These records be living on.
Yeah, you're right.
You just got to know the original record and know when the producer is like freaking the sample. Fight the Power, Public Enemy, self-explanatory. Children's Story, self-explanatory. Mike, is ain't no half-stepping on your list? I Kane?
Yeah. That's on
just making sure. That's what I'm talking about. No, Kane only in here once. Yep. I ain't putting no... I'm sorry, Mike. There's just some records. It's like, that's why I ain't got 5 on it, ain't on here.
No. I'm not putting I got 5 on it over. Ain't no half stepping. No.
I want to put Raw in here. That's what I'm saying.
To me, they want to get
like
some.
Brooklyn Zoo and Bring the Pain didn't make my list, Mike.
Me either, and I'm upset about it. Ice Cream didn't make my list.
I'm gonna tell you what, I realized something about myself too, Mike. The Wu-Tang record that didn't make it, that disturbed me the most, was Brooklyn Zoo. So I
Brooklyn
was like,
Zoo's
man,
awesome.
I think Brooklyn Zoo belongs in here somewhere. I'm just trying to figure it out. My Philosophy, KRS-One.
Of course,
Would you like me to explain? Did you have that too?
Yep.
Paid in Full Rakim had that?
Of course.
I know you had Cream and Trouble T. Roy.
Yep.
I had the Symphony, Mike.
I got the Symphony too.
You do? Okay. Mike, the G-Rap Kane thing at the end is just like, that's...
No, that's the posse cut I picked. That and All About the Benjamins.
Mike, that's funny. Those are the two posse cuts. All About the Benjamins is the next one that I picked, because I was actually thinking the Symphony for the 80s, All About the Benjamins for the 90s. Those are the posse cuts with the best bar work.
Yep.
Like, people don't understand. Master Ace and Craig G are nasty on there. That's how great G-Rap and Kane are. People don't even talk about Master Ace and Craig G on that record.
Right.
They go like, them niggas didn't exist. That's how busy G-Rap and Kane got.
All right,
One More Chance remix.
One More Chance, okay.
I'll Be There For You. Now, Mike, we taking the Razor Sharp version. The Razor Sharp version doesn't take the Biggie Me and My Bitch sample. Okay? We talking about the one that has the hook at the end with the bridge. You're all that I need, I'll be there for you. We talking about the Razor Sharp version. We're gonna keep that tight.
That's the record that made Method Man my favorite rapper growing up. When I
Razor
seen that
Sharp
video
version.
and I
Remember
seen
when you
Bring the
had,
Pain, that
Mike,
was it.
The white tape had the Razor Sharp version and then the puffy version.
Yeah, I didn't like the puffy version too much.
Razor Sharp. The puffy version got played on the radio.
Yeah.
The Razor Sharp version got played on the TV with the video. Yep. The Razor Sharp version.
Yeah.
I believe that single went like double or triple platinum in 95. Doo-Wop by Lauryn Hill, Mike.
Okay.
It's just, quite frankly, a flawless record.
Exactly. And I think that's where we're going to have to meet
record.
in the middle here. We're going to have, like, I think that we have enough records where we can talk about 50 records like you and I talk about Doo-Wop, One More Chance, Freaks Come Out at Night.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? The Message, like, perfect
So we're meeting
records.
you know what we're meeting on? We're meeting on those perfect 10 records where it's like everything about the record from beginning to end is like kind of like a flawless victory.
Cell Therapy.
Cell Therapy.
Yeah.
Flawless victory. Now, Mike, is Get At Me Dog on your list?
It's not. I don't have a DMX song on my list. That was the one thing, you know, because when we posted it on Facebook, that was the one thing that the thousands of comments kind of kept bringing out. Top billing, no DMX, and they were really saying Rough Riders anthem. Now, I'm with you. If I'm picking the DMX record, it's Get At Me Dog. I just don't feel like, man, it stopped the Shiny Suit era and it changed course. But in relation to the other records that are on my 50, I just don't think it's big enough. If it was as big as Rough Riders Anthem, definitely. And if Rough Riders Anthem was the record that Get At Me Dog was, you know, vice versa. You know what I mean? But it's X, man. How can I leave him off?
Get At Me Dog, for me, it might be the most important single of my formative years. And let me explain why. He taught all of us, you don't have to conform to win.
No, you're right. He did.
Do your shit. And what he say? Keep your shit hardest. Right. And Mike, never before in the history of this game has one person stepped in and put a stop to the way that a whole industry and a whole coast had been moving for about 3 or 4 years.
You don't think 50 did that when he came in?
No, 50 did not do that. Because what 50 did, 50 for me was the first one. Like, some of it starts with Nas and Jay, but 50 is really the one to connect all the dots for the East Coast upper echelon MC. No. He got the West Coast production that Nas got and then that Jay started getting. But because of how he got hit up, it changed his vocal inflection. And because of that, he learned how to spit his shit a little Southern. So he's got West Coast beats, Southern dialect, but he's talking player talk like he's from the Midwest. But this motherfucker's from Southside Jamaica, Queens. Ding, 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 ding. Now, he's the first one to do that. DMX was a motherfucker that was like, I don't care what all of y'all are doing. Now you're doing this. And ain't nobody did that, Mike. Yeah. He's like, no. He's like, oh, he's like, all you niggas is pretty. Come, you see this mud? And he just pulled everybody back into the mud, Mike. And he won that way. And he won to the point that people like Jay-Z, oh no, they had to fuck with X.
X was a shockwave, man. Like, he was a shot in the arm to the game.
Get At Me Dog is one of the most important rap singles. And I don't care, Mike. Like, I played up against a lot of these records. Oh no, it's going to body a lot of these records. It's like, you think Jesus Walk's a better record? No, it's not.
Get At Me Dog is hip-hop.
Play Get At Me Dog and play some Jesus Walks.
Get At Me Dog is hip-hop in the way that Made You Look is, you know? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people had issue with the fact that I had Made You Look over the obvious If I Ruled the World, but I just feel like Made You Look is just a better record, man, in droves. And I think that I didn't go with because I know my list kind of looks like the biggest hits make it. I didn't go for that when it came to Made You Look. I just went with what I think is one of the best songs ever to come out in hip-hop, and it was a single. It was a shockwave. It came out, first single, similar to Get At Me Dog. I think they're very similar in that way.
I would agree with you except for this. Get At Me Dog is the introduction. Made You Look is a victory lap.
No, I agree.
Made You Look is the victory lap.
It
is.
How
about this? I always felt like he was the greatest MC of all time, but I didn't start saying really he was the greatest MC of all time until I heard Made You Look. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think Made You Look might be where the real GOAT talk really starts. Like the real GOAT talk, it's like, oh shit. It's like, oh no. He done made Illmatic, It Was Written, and he done beat Jay. And so when Made You Look came out, it was just like, well, I look at Made You Look the way I look at What You Know. It's kind of like a coronation ceremony.
Yeah, I mean, after you win a battle like that and you put out a record like that, whoa.
No, it's the battle.
Whoa. It's like, you know what, just in case, you thought that I wasn't the best, here it is.
No, and
yeah, man, Made You Look's the pick. I'm sorry. That shit's important, man.
No, it is, but I'll tell you and this is what I mean, I look at it. Well, I have The World Is Yours and Dead Presidents 2 next, right after Get At Me Dog. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Well, what is this hip-hop culture? And I'm not joking when I say this. What is the hip-hop culture really the last 20, 25 years without our two best MCs who are living actually having some real-life fucking conflict? What is the story of rap without these two guys being conflicted when they were conflicted? You get what I'm saying? Because that post Big and Pop is the biggest story rap has seen. Like, for whatever you think about Cole, Kendrick, for fallen soldiers who are not here, like Nip, rest in peace. Like, for whatever you think, Mike, ain't nothing been bigger in the last 25 years than Nas versus Jay-Z. And that shit starts with The World Is Yours and Dead Presidents 2. It's their seminal songs, released as singles off their seminal albums, and quite frankly, they're comparable as songs, except for one song is taken from the other. And don't tell me that shit ain't got nothing to do with it. Outside of Nas missing the studio sessions, hip-hop ain't the same without those two records.
Yeah.
It's not. That's what I mean. It's like, no. I took the impact. I think The World Is Yours and Dead Presidents 2, I think Made You Look is better than both of those records. But Made You Look, like I said, Mike, that is literally a victory lap. No. This is the shit right here. This is the shit.
I don't know. We can discuss that.
This is the shit. No. That's the shit. And lyrically speaking, Mike, as far as those two gentlemen's bar work is concerned, if you do think that they are the two greatest MCs of all time, no, The World Is Yours and Dead Presidents 2 is lyrical evidence on both sides why that.
I mean, you know how I feel about both of those records. I've said many a times on this show that The World Is Yours is his best song from Illmatic, and I've also said Dead Presidents 2 is my favorite Jay song.
I'm gonna tell you what, they both kind of called their shots. Like Nas literally called his son being born next on the record a full 2 decades damn near before it happened, Mike.
Yeah. Great record.
You know what I'm saying? Like Jay on Dead Presidents 2, like you listen to the third verse, like how he talking. No, that's how he ran the game. You already know. You light, I'm heavy row, heavy dough. Mike Machete, your flow. Your paper falls slow like confetti. No, he's talking about these other rappers. He's like, no, my paper already looked better than you. That's why I'm about to come take this shit over. He's like, I got the money to do shit that you're not about to do with this game. You feel what I'm saying? Like those songs are prophecy come to life too, in the midst of them like playing off of each other. So that's why I have those records over Made You Look. Flavor in Your Ear, Mike. It's the best rap song nobody ever talks about. And that's another reason why I got 5 on it in records like that, and It Takes Two and Top Bill and I on here. It's like, no, Flavor in Your Ear is better than those records to me.
I don't know about that, but I feel you. It's close, but I don't know about that.
It birthed what I think might be the real greatest remix of all time.
I was gonna say, now that remix is better than the original.
So a scenario, Mike.
I agree with you, but most people would. But I think most people would agree that the Flavor in Your Ear remix is better than the original. But as far as like the 5 on it remix,
I got 5 on it. That's what I'm saying. You know how many remixes are really better than the original? Like really, if you really want to like get down to it. Like you like the Street Dreams remix more than you like Street Dreams. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike.
I do
you
like
the Quiet Storm remix more than you like Quiet Storm. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I do.
So think about how many remixes we talking about. It's like no, it's not like a remix is an opportunity to one up, but there's nothing like Prodigy's three verses on Quiet Storm to me. Like you had time to one up it, but it's like no, ain't no one up in that.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, Troy, Cream, Mom playing tricks on me, nothing but the G thing, paid in full, fight the power, dear mama, the message. Straight Outta Compton, Children's Story are the real top 10 in my opinion. Order is debatable. I think we're all on a similar page with those.
Yeah, all those records belong.
DJ Bruce Almighty says, Craig Mack, Flavor in Your Ear, question mark? Mad Max to the super chat says, Gangsta's Paradise not on your list, but you got I Don't Like on there. That's me. This is 2011 Bron, Bad Kobe versus the Suns in 06, Game 7. Bad Tighten Up. Let's see. Let me get some of these other super chats, and then we'll discuss that, and then we'll get on to the MC thing. Let me see, because I know we're real behind. We were going through the list. Okay, here we go. Leroy Green with the super chat says, songs like Hard Knock Life, Empire State of Mind, Lean Back, Lose Yourself, Insane in the Brain, You Can't Touch This. Put your hands where my eyes can see. That's a good one.
That almost made my list.
I didn't even think about Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See.
I did. I have it written down upstairs. It was one of the cutting floor choices.
Hit you with no delay, so what you saying, yo? Silly with that melee with that dilly, yo. When I be on the mic, that's my duty, yo. Yeah, okay. Let me think about that one. Eric Terrell super chat says,
named Julio, he moody, yo.
Eric Terrell says, back that thing up is less than Baby Got Back, bigger and better. Okay. Roy Wana, do you think Baby Got Back is better than Back That Ass Up?
Oh.
Roy Wana with the super chat says, nobody saw that crazy what crazy Melly Mel said about Nas. We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
because I have a perspective on that too.
We'll give it a roundabout turn.
Michael Williams with the super chat says, rank their flows best to worst. Rakim, Biggie, J, Pun, Nas, AZ, Big L. They give me a lot of choices. Flow,
Biggie.
Yeah, I was gonna go Big number 1, and then I was gonna go J, Rakim. I don't know, because Nas' flow is crazy too.
I'm about to say, Mike, I'll tell you right now, I mean, Biggie's the only person I feel comfortable putting ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, because everybody else is like, are we talking about versatility with the flow?
I don't think Pun and L should belong in this conversation because they didn't have the chance to get the legs that the other guys got. So we're going to respectfully decline that.
I'm going to go J, number 2, because of the versatility in the flow, right? And although Nas has developed that as of late, he would have to be number 3 after that. I think that's the one thing that in the beginning people were putting Jay over Nas on was because of the flow and the versatility, jumping on Timberland tracks and doing this and that. But when Nas's flow is in pocket, doing not what Nas does, he has the better flow. You know what I'm saying?
When did the Lil Jon and the East Side Boys album come up that had grand finale with Nas and Cube and Tip and all them on there. Same one that got Real Nigga Roll Call with Ice Cube. Like, when
That
did that come out?
was 02, 03, I think. 03, maybe.
I mean, Mike, his flow's been getting pretty agile and silky since then because he's sliding on that Southern
Yeah,
track
no, he
pretty
killed
easily.
that shit.
Right. That was 20 years ago that he slid like that. So what I would tell you, if you want to give Jay the nod in delivery, that's more about style points than the actual factual at this point. But I get how like you would feel that way, and so I'm cool with that. But I think it's how about this? The gap, if there is a gap at all, is closer.
Yeah, it's closer than it ever was, to be honest.
Closer than it ever was. Like
because when we think
I'm
about
borderline
flow,
want to tell you this the time. Mike, I borderline want to tell you that it's the time because we don't know if Jay can still slide on the variety of tracks that we just watched Nas slide on. Like,
that's fair.
We talking about old shit when we talking about how he slide.
You're right,
And keep
because
in
when
mind,
I think
people
about
talking
that,
how he slide, people wasn't loving how he was sliding on Watch the Throne like that or Blueprint 3 like that.
that's fair. That's fair because when you say that, I'm thinking about, Jigga what, Jigga who, or I'm thinking about Don't Get Mad at Me, I Don't Love a Motherfucker, My Chasing My Duck Around, replacing with another one. It's a long time ago. Yeah.
That's 98. That's what I'm saying. When you talk about that flow, Mike, how about this? The last time that I thought his flow was disgusting was the Black Album. Mike, what year is that?
He killed the Black Album. 03?
No, he did. Flow-wise, that's 03.
Yeah.
That's the same year that I just brought up that Nas verse. Now, have you heard what Nas been doing with his flow since then? Now, tell me what Jay's done with his flow since 03. Because that's what I mean. You talking about a 7-year gap in like dudes that got quarter-century careers, and it's like,
Leroy Green with the super chat says, "How you guys don't have If I Ruled the World? I've just never been that big fan of a song."
Well, can I finish my list?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you.
More songs.
I'm gonna let you finish your list. Let me get to this last super chat real. Well, not last, but Michael Williams with the super chat says, "A Song for Asada is one of the most underrated songs in hip hop history. Dear Mama is the only song that is more moving. CeeLo killed the hook. It is." Speaking of CeeLo, though, what do you think about Guess Who from Goody Mob, though, if you want to talk about a moving record?
What, the song about their mothers?
Yeah.
I think it's the best mother tribute song outside of Dear Mama.
By far.
Just like I think Beautiful Skin is one of the best black female tribute records. I think that might be a top 5 or 10 black female tribute record. Goody Mob is good for showing props to the ladies.
I'm going to give Black Star that one with Brown Skin Lady. Great record.
I like Beautiful Skin more than I like Brown Skin Lady.
Okay. I disagree, but I feel you. I like them both.
ATL. I would say ATL, but we talking about like female records, so the same wrong say ATL. Like ATL. Shout out to the ATL. Shout out to the ATL.
Okay, go ahead and finish your list up so we can.
Mike, In the Club by 50.
It's 50 Cent back on that gangster shit.
Well, Mike, and this is what I mean about how I end these records, because it's like, well, I go to the start, but I also go to the comeuppance. Mike, my last 2 records are If I Rule the World and Hard Knock Life. Do you want to know why? Because I don't know what those guys are without those records. Let's start with If I Rule the World right quick. Put yourself in the position of an executive at Columbia Records that watched the Fugees make Blunted on Reality and then watch Nas make Illmatic. And watch both of those albums not be commercially viable the way that they wanted them to be. And then look at what the Fugees did with the score in 96. Now, all of those core hip-hop heads that wanted Nas to kind of keep that Illmatic formula, they must wanted that nigga to be back out on the street. Because the Fugees, and Nas is signed to Columbia just like they are. Tell me he's not hearing this music. Oh, these motherfuckers out here selling 4, 5, 6 million records.
Didn't they come out around the same time, though? Like, I feel like they were cooking around the same time.
They were cooking around the same time.
I feel like It Was Written came out first, though. Because I don't think the score even sold in the units
Fuji La came out before.
How
about this? I feel like Fuji La and Ready or Not were out before If I Rule the World dropped. And If I Rule the World is dropping around the time that Killing Me Softly is dropping.
We gotta look those up because it felt like it was that same summer. Let me get to these super chats.
No, Mike, it's the same summer, but what I'm trying to tell you is that the Fugees are bubbling inside of this man's own label. Lauren is sounding like one of the best MCs in the game. The Fugees are sounding like they got a whole stadium full. I want you to just go and think like an executive that's existing inside Columbia Records, watching Illmatic sell 300,000 copies its first year. Let's say that again. Sold 300,000 copies in 1994. It came out in April. 8 months, 300,000. Do the arithmetic.
Again, we've
That
had
shit
this
is not about the
conversation
fly.
before.
Mike, that shit is not about the fly in 1996 when the Fugees are sitting up here releasing Fuji La, Ready or Not, or Killing Me Softly. You understand what I'm talking about?
No, I feel what you're saying. I mean, I just feel like, and we've had this
sell 300,000 records again in a year, keeping this shit street for these niggas and keeping these niggas happy. This bootlegging your shit.
Well, again, I like I said on the previous show, I just don't see which record they thought was going to sell Illmatic to the level that
Mike, The World Is Yours is a banger. To be honest with you, want to know what really would have sold Illmatic?
It's not Juicy, it's not Big Papa, or it's not One More Chance remix.
Hey,
no banger.
All jokes aside, I know this would have been kind of like a risk. After It Ain't Hard, as much as I love One Love, after It Ain't Hard to Tell and The World Is Yours, which I understand, Mike, first of all, don't tell me that those aren't great. I thought about putting It Ain't Hard to Tell on this list.
They're great records, but
they're epic.
They're not big records.
Songs. No, I hear you. Listen to what I'm saying. I feel like if they would have released Life's a Bitch as the third single and made a video to that, we're having a different conversation.
You think that Life's a Bitch was going to sell some records?
I do.
I disagree with that. Like, what record?
What is it missing?
Huh?
What's it missing?
A hook.
And Life's a Bitch and Then You Die. That's why you get high.
Yeah,
no.
Because let's dial back to 94.
Niggas can recite the bars off rip.
I hear what you're saying.
It was the hook people were singing.
I feel you.
The Yearning for Your Love sample by the Gap Band. Hold on, let me catchy hook.
Hold. Let me clarify.
Gap Band sample.
Let me expound upon what I'm saying with the hook.
It be sounding like a hit.
Let me expound upon what I'm saying with the hook.
This Nas and AZ shit.
Cool. Like, look at Sugar Hill by AZ.
Platinum is a single.
That's the hook. Look at that hook, though.
Platinum.
This is what we're talking about in 94. What trend do we have here? You got hooks like Juicy out there. You got hooks like One More Chance out there. You got hooks like Sugar Hill out there. It's nothing that I can point to in 94, 95 that tells me that the hook to Life's a Bitch is going to sell at records.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Do you think it's more viable as a single than One Love? Because I do. The beat's better. The hook's better. Surprisingly enough, I don't believe I'm saying this. The bars are better. The only thing that's better about One Love is the concept.
I was going to say.
So what I would tell you is I feel like that the misstep might have been in the fact that they didn't release Life's a Bitch. Now, also,
can I answer your question,
what's going on? You know what's really going on when all these songs are being released? Doggy Style is going on.
Well, of course, those are bangers, man. He didn't have any of those. Let me answer your question, though.
Not as opposed to Doggy Style. No. Nobody's fucking with Doggy Style, Mike.
Well, I mean, at the same
Juicy
time,
and Big Papa is not fucking with no What's My Name and Gin and Juice.
But still, even if you talk
Big wasn't fucking with them either.
Even if you talk about Doggy Style, the record that came out around that was Award Tour, Electric Relaxation. You got Cream out there. You got Protect Your Neck with the rawness that they got going on, but Cream is a banger, right? He didn't have anything that was like that. But Mike, to answer your question, though, I think if we're talking about from a visual aid standpoint, from a notoriety with the hook, and like you said, from a conceptual standpoint, I do think One Love was the better choice. Although I think that Life's a Bitch is the better song, but as far as like all encompassing, I think that One Love was the better choice as far as the single goes. Neither one of them were going to sell millions of records, but between the two, at least we could capture the great storyteller that this young MC is. And it was going to focus on him and not be duo focused.
Mike, we did not need One Love. No. Not Mike, we'd already heard Halftime live at the barbecue. Fucking It Ain't Hard to Tell the World Was Yours. We did not need to hear his lyrical display or wizardry. We were in the know. We were in the know by the time One Love came out. It was fucking late summer.
I understand.
We were in the know by then.
But that's what Illmatic is. It's a display of that.
Like there was a time, you have to understand, here's how great he was. It's like you like Biggie, Tupac, and Snoop's records more, and people still thought Nas was the better MC based on what they heard on Illmatic. It's like, no, those records are better. Be like, they're not fucking with that guy as an MC, though.
Yeah, and that's fine. But again,
and so
like I always say, Like I always say, singles sell albums. At least that's
And
where
if
it
I Rule
used
the
to really
World
be.
is the reason that Nas exists today. And that's why I'm saying it's on this list. So if he's the greatest MC of all time, what's the thing that pushed him over the threshold? It would be If I Rule the World. Well, that sounds top 50 to me. Our number one MC's biggest record. Hello.
Well, again, you know me. I got Jay at number 2,
Ain't no
and
double
I
triple
don't
platinum
even.
without no. You understand? Ain't no double triple platinum plaques on the wall with If I Rule the World. Mike, I was at a cigar lounge in Atlanta 2 months ago, and If I Rule the World is still getting played. You don't have records like that to be getting played like that. That record is.
Again, I think you're looking, and you said this before you started. You're looking at how important the record is to the individual artist. I'm looking at how important the record is to the whole thing. So it's like I got Jay at number 2, and I don't have a Jay-Z solo record on that top 50. I think that when it comes to of course they're important, but they're important for their collective pieces of work. That doesn't mean
there are
that
some people that are too important.
I understand that. I mean, but he's represented, through niggas in Paris. But again, that's not taken away from that person's importance. Shoot, Drake doesn't have a record on my top 50, and Drake's super
not
important.
Nas or Jay to people, respectfully, in this culture. Even to
Jim
modern,
Jones just said he's the greatest rapper of all time.
People, no, Mike, modern day people who think Drake is their favorite MC will tell you. And I'll ask them, be like, do you think he's better MC than Nas or Jay? Be like, no, but he's my favorite. It's like, so at least you know what time it is, really.
You don't think there are people who think that Drake's the best rapper of all time? Jim Jones just said he was. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, "Do you guys feel Twins by Big Pun slash Big Pun slash Fat Joe? I guess he means is more associated with that beat in consideration. And consider the better version more than Deep Cover. What do you think about that comparison of the two? You think that Twins 98 is better than Deep Cover? No. I used to think so back in the day, but it's not. I mean, I got caught up in the rapping, but no, it's not better.
I wish about
36 Chambers with the super chat says award tour is my personal on my personal list, number 2 behind Troy. When they reminisce of you.
When the fuck did Twins 97 become fucking Deep Cover to people? Did I miss that?
Are you stuck on that? We moved on to the next super chat.
Little Italy. You talking about the little bar flip by Pun? That ain't the whole.
I rub your face out the earth and crush your family's children like Amityville and drill the nerves in your cavity, feeling insanity's building a pavilion in my civilian. It can't be the energy that humanity's building. It's a dope record. It's great.
Yeah, and you don't stop.
But it's,
if you don't quit.
Yeah, when Snoop comes in there, creep with me. That's different, man.
It's different, Mike. This is what I mean. How about this? This is no disrespect to Fat Joe. This is no disrespect to Pun. God bless the dead. One of the greatest lyricists who ever touched the mic, truly. Ain't never been a star in this game like Snoop. It's different when Snoop stepped to the motherfucking mic.
It is.
It's different.
Shout out to Snoop Dogg, too, man. Holla at us, Snoop,
Mike,
man.
Murder Was the Case is available. Mike, I was in traffic listening to Murder Was the Case. No, Snoop's just a bigger star than everybody.
Everybody.
Except Slick Rick, Mike.
And Method Man's up there, but nah, Snoop's something else. 36 Chambers with the super chat said award towards on my personal list is number 2 behind When They Reminisce Over You. I'm surprised people would pick Electric Relaxation or any Tribe track over it, to be honest. Leroy Green with the super chat says Coop, the fact that the Looney said I got 5 on it on a radio song sent waves through every hood just off of the phrase itself, and then the song was dope too.
Okay, so since y'all want to do that, Mike, you know where they got that from, right?
What's up?
It's like that, and as a matter of fact, rat-a-tat-tat. And I still got what, Mike? I still got 5 on a 20 sack. I got 5 on it. Where do you think they got it from, Mike? Why people acting like it's something so original? It's a Snoop hijack. They're from the Bay.
Stop.
That from
Rewind.
What's My Name?
Exactly. Like the song that I got on the list.
I still got 5. Mike, I got What's My Name on there too. It's on my list too.
I know.
I got 5 on a 20 sack is on What's My Name, right?
Yeah.
So what's this about the originality of the Loonies? I got 5 on it
I don't
a
know if
year
he
and a
said
half after, like,
originality.
what?
He
It
was
ain't
saying
that
bringing
original
that,
either. Where you think I got 5 on it from?
but they brought it to the radio in a
People
hook.
just know, but I mean, it's like you need to know your history, though. It's like you talking about it like it's some original concept. It ain't really nothing but a Snoop hijack, like every nigga on the West Coast was doing.
Coop, you're not feeling the loonies, huh?
I like the Loonies. Yuck Mouth can flow. Yuck
uh,
Mouth is actually nice, but it's like stop kicking that record to me like, Mike, it's a Snoop hijack. I just proved to you it was a Snoop hijack. Now tell me I'm wrong. I got evidence.
I don't
I
know if
still
they got
got
it from
5 on
that.
a 20 sack. I got 5 on it. I'm sorry, it's not the same thing? Am I missing something?
Well, they did say more after that.
Am I missing something
They
about where
said
they
more than
got
that,
it
you know.
from?
I mean, it's Snoop.
Right.
CJ Kidd with the super chat says, "Do you feel that Twins is more successful?" He talked about the Pun and Joe song with the beat and more memorable over deep cover. Nah, not even with the fact that they actually put it out as a single on Pun's album. Web
I thought
Visibility with the
about
super chat says, not having I Used to Love Her or Follow the Leader in the top 50 list is problematic. I would say it's more problematic not having Microphone Fiend than Follow the Leader. And as far as I Used to Love Her goes, I had it on the list, but when it comes to the other records, it's hard to
doesn't
quantify
hold.
its impact with the rest of the records. I think that conceptually, obviously, I Used to Love Her, stands alone. But let's look at Common specifically. If Common does a versus, which he's probably not going to do, does he end it with I Used to Love Her? And that was the thing that I kind of looked at with this too. I'm like, if any of these acts, outside of the people who have just a mega record that, like I said, I keep bringing up Black Sheep, but I think that's one of the great examples. Any of the people who are in our hip hop lexicon that we talk about all the time, I was thinking if such and such does a versus, are they going to end it with this song possibly? There's a possibility Nas could end his set with Made You Look. That's a possibility. He may
Or if I
not.
rule
He
the
has an
world, like you said.
incredible catalog, but yeah, he'll probably end it with "If I Ruled the World" for the notoriety and if it's a versus situation. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that Made You Look can make that. If Common does a versus, he's not ending it with "I Used to Love Her."
The problem with I Used to Love Her is that it's not better than records that didn't make this list, like Welcome to the Terror Dome, Brooklyn Zoo,
Rebel Without
Bring
a
the Pain.
Pause.
Mike, how about this? I Used to Love Her. How about this, Mike? Do you think I Used to Love Her is better than Born and Raised in Compton by DJ Quick? That was a record that I thought about putting on that didn't make my list that I wanted to put on.
I think it is, but
You
that's
think,
a great
you think I
record.
Used to Love Her is better than Born and Raised in Compton?
Both great records. I think
Where?
both of those records are.
But where out, Mike? But where outside of the concept?
I think with the lyricism, but you know where
Quick snapping on
Commons
Born and Raised in Compton.
once
Mike. He's
again.
snapping.
Oh, he was.
Quick snapping.
Yeah. If you ask me which one I'm probably gonna listen to first, I'm gonna probably listen to Born and Raised in Compton first. But it's hard for me to make an argument against I Used to Love It in that way. You know where I Used to Love Her falls short? It's the production again.
It's the beat.
And I'm
I knew you
not
about
trying.
to say that. You about to get on no ID, Mike. Go ahead.
I don't even need to do that. Y'all know
Please,
where I'm
go ahead.
going.
Go ahead. Mike.
I'm sure people watch this show. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just being honest. Max in the super chat says, "Why isn't New York State of Mind on your list?"
They don't got no damn video.
It's
Yeah,
hard.
man.
It's hard for. Listen, this is the thing, and I'll answer this in this way. If we were to go through and start picking album songs, it becomes a very subjective and not objective list. We can't really quantify certain things if I go through and say, you know what, man, Art of Storytelling Part 2 off of Kumina is the top 50s. How can you quantify that?
Listen, how about this, Mike? What do you think is Jay-Z's best song?
You don't know.
Now,
I
you
had
don't
it
know
on the
didn't
list,
make. Hold
too.
on, Mike. Now you don't know didn't make your list. Didn't make my list, Mike. What's Rakim's best song in your opinion?
Oh, you know what? That's a loaded question. But I think it's between Eric B. as President, Know the Ledge, but lyrically it's going to be Lyrics of Fury.
None of those songs made your list or my list, Mike.
Well, Eric B. as President made my list.
I didn't put it on.
Ain't No
here.
Joke didn't make my list, and
I Ain't No
that's one
Joke
of his
is my.
best.
I Ain't No Joke might be my favorite Rakim song.
Yeah. I could have easily put 4 Rakim songs on here.
Know the Ledge, Mike. Know the Ledge.
Yeah.
Know the Ledge. Some of the best bar work ever.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says, "You Know My Style samples Jam Master Jay by Run DMC, Not Boys in the Hood." He said, "Also, what about Tonight by DJ Quick? Definitely should be on there."
It might be both. I'm gonna go check that again.
Eric Terrell with the super chat says, "Humpty Dance was huge. Plus, without that, no Tupac. I'm cool with Humpty. I need to write that down."
You want to know what? I missed the Humpty Dance. I will call myself out for that too.
Yeah.
That'd be on the hit list though, Mike. That wouldn't make my top songs list because even I tell you, same song's a better song than Humpty Dance actually top to bottom.
I think Humpty Dance is a dope song.
No, I think it's a dope song.
The production on that shit,
record from beginning to end, Mike. It's like this. How about this?
Because you remember when on Jackin' for Beats, the 2 records that I loved hearing Cube on was Welcome to the Terror Dome, and when he came in on the Humpty Dance beat, I'm like, yo, this beat is crazy.
Mike, let me ask you something.
Sure.
Do you think Lady in My Life and I Can't Help It are better than the song Thriller and Beat It?
If I were to put those 4 songs in order, I'm going to go Can't Help It.
Me too.
Might surprise you here. I think I'm going to go Thriller, Lady in My Life, Beat It.
Okay.
It's close.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying? It's like Thriller and Beat It are the bigger records of the 2 of the 4 records, right?
Yeah.
Like being bigger doesn't make the song better. Mike, you and I agree. Like I Can't Help It is blowing Thriller out the water though, ain't it? It's like there's some distance between your 1 and your 2, ain't there?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
And Lady in My Life is awesome too. But I don't discount how, Thriller's one of those records that we've heard it so much. Sometimes we can discount how dope it is. Maybe. But yeah. No, I think that that's the order I would put it in.
Yeah, so like bigger isn't always better is what I'm saying. Just because something was a big hit doesn't make it like this awesome tour de force. Sometimes a hit is just a hit. Like, how about this, Mike? Without the visual aid of Thriller, I don't even think you register Thriller. You put Thriller at 4th if you've never had a visual aid.
Thriller's funky. Like, it's one of those, because Michael really didn't delve into the funk like that on a solo level. And I mean, some on Off the Wall would get on the floor and stuff like that with the Brothers Johnson. But Thriller on, the song Thriller itself is probably the funkiest you're going to get. With that doom 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 doom. Like, that's like something that you could see James Brown possibly gigging to.
Okay, he's not James as far as gigging.
No. But I'm just saying the rhythms and stuff.
No, I get what you're saying about the rhythm and the melody. It's just, I think it's the most overrated of all his songs. And not to say that it's a bad song. It's an epic song. I think of all his songs, it's the most overrated.
You think the video made it?
Yes.
I feel that way about Smooth Criminal.
How about this? If there's no video to Thriller, I don't think it makes his top 10 list.
Okay. I think that's fair.
Yeah, there are 10 Michael Jackson songs that I play before Thriller, like easy.
Yeah, no.
Like,
I mean,
how about this? This is what I mean. I like love song, Mike. Like The Way You Make Me Feel, I Can't Help It, Lady in My Life, Rock With You, even You Are Not Alone by That Nasty Bastard R. Kelly. No, I love those records. Break of Dawn, Heaven Can Wait, Butterflies, You Rock My World, even the late stuff. What's the joint? Remember the Time? No, that's my mic. That's the mic that I go to. Okay. I don't fuck with like Thriller, Beat It, Smooth Criminal mic like the rest of you motherfuckers do.
That mic.
Like I want to hear Mike sing falsetto and groove, sing to the ladies right quick. You know what I mean? Help a brother get in the bed. You know what I'm saying?
Human Nature is another level, man. I think it's his second.
Human Nature is something different, Mike. Something different, Mike.
Yeah, it's out of this world. Chris from the Super Chat says, guys from New Orleans, BG, Bling Bling. Off Chopping City in the Ghetto. Coop brought up Bling Bling on our Patreon. Was supposed to be Cash Money's first album, but BG went to jail. He had 4 albums before that, and he got them the deal.
Mike, I'm working on my top 50 hip hop list, the songs. I got Bling Bling on there. I don't have How I Back That Ass Up on there right now because Bling Bling is Cash Money's biggest hit.
Leroy Green with the super chat. I still think Back That Ass Up's the biggest
Every
hit.
time I come, Mike, I don't Bling Bling is in the dictionary, Mike.
I feel you. But Back That
Every
Ass
time
Up
I come around your city,
a monster.
Pinky ring worth about 50.
Now,
Every time I buy
now
a
let's
new
talk
ride,
versus talk. Let's talk versus talk. You remember when Manny Fresh did his verses with Scott Storch? What did he play last? Back That Ass Up, man.
Mike, did he win that versus?
He did not. But
He
his
should have.
game
You want to know
plan-
why? Because he ain't play it right. And one of the plays he made wrong, yeah.
Well, nah, he wasn't gonna win that one. It was looking bad.
Every time I run around your city, bling, bling.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, "I was outside when If I Ruled the World, Nas is like and Hate Me Now dropped. It's no way Made You Look was better. Respectfully, huh? I was outside when Made You Look came out.
I can't even front. I was outside for real when I Am came out. It's like the way niggas was playing Hate Me Now, it made me hate the song.
Yeah. DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says, "My bad, Coop. That last super chat, I was asking about Flavor in Your Ear before the list came up. Great pick, great list. Let's see. I want to go through and see the ones that we got the same, and then we'll just, we'll move on. Eric Terrell with the super chat says,
I like that.
No Rapper's Delight, top 50 rap song impact. Good question. I thought about that. I just think that over time, man, the message has become more synonymous with really, and I'm not trying to erase anything out of history, but it's kind of been more synonymous with what the first rap record is. Whereas it's an original beat, whereas Rapper's Delight is, it's Good Times from Chic. They came out that exact same year. Not to mention, it's bars that were written by somebody else. And it's more of a disco record than a rap record, if we want to be perfectly honest. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you start parsing it up with the other rap records, it sticks out like a sore thumb. I think that's on a different kind of list, man. We got to put that where These Are the Breaks with Curtis Blow and stuff are.
No, I don't even think it's that, Mike. No. Like I actually thought about putting Basketball by Curtis Blow on my list. Yeah, Basketball.
And I don't want to be like that about, because again, as far as
Basketball and
impact
Freaks
goes,
come out of the first rap songs I ever heard, Mike.
As far as impact goes, though, it's no denying, and similar to what you said about about Nas with If I Ruled the World, hip hop needed Rapper's Delight. I mean, regardless of, and so for that reason, it's hard to leave it out of the list. Now I am a person that believes, and I think I heard Grandmaster Cass say this. Somebody was bigging him up about, this, and that, and the third, and what he did. He was like, look, if I didn't do it, somebody else would have done it. Mm-hmm. I just happened to be the person to do it. And I truly do believe if it wasn't Rapper's Delight, it would have been something else.
So I want to be respectful.
And I got to be careful here. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
Right. No, I want to be respectful when I say this because neither one of us put Rapper's Delight on our list. Now, I want to preface this properly. We have both come up here and acknowledged the fact that if you were asking Mike and I, because of our age, hip-hop questions that are prior to 1985, there's going to be more what I like to call gray trivial area that we maybe do not understand.
Correct.
Or are not privy to. Because quite frankly, Mike, you're born in 1982?
Yeah.
Well, I was born in 1981. So when these records are being made and all this is going on, Mike and I aren't even alive.
Right.
Right? I was born in October of 81. Mike is born in May of 82. All right? We're not alive for a lot of this stuff because Mike and I are heads and we're the similar type of heads, which is where this podcast kind of meets in the middle, is because Mike and I both trace our origins of hip hop back to LL, I think. Isn't he your back? The guy you go back to furthest back is LL, right?
Yeah, I mean, parents listen to Run DMC and Houdini and stuff like that. But yeah,
But you is LL, so that would be
right,
85 and above. So we're
right.
not privy to all that. But Mike, much like you, part of why I miss Rappers Delight, I think it's an era thing because guess what, Mike? Even for our era, for us being children that were born 81 and 82 respectively, we look at it more like a disco record than a rap song. We look at the message more like a rap record, don't we?
We do.
And I don't
And
mean that
and I
disrespectfully.
heard people
It's
talking
how
about
our
insurance
generation
too.
looks at it. So if the OGs older than us want to pull our card on it, fine. But
Yeah,
much
yeah.
like I pull Mad Max's card, it's like just respect where I'm coming from with it when I'm telling you. It's like, well, I didn't put that on my list because I really look at it as a disco record that helped transfusion into hip hop than actual hip hop record.
But
When
I
I hear
think
the
it has to be
message,
on the list.
and then another broken glass everywhere. No, that's that rap shit.
Yeah. I think it has to be on the list, though. It's hard to have a list without that.
No. Like I'm
And
just
I
saying
think it's
respectfully while
yours
we're
too.
explaining why we didn't have it on our list.
Right.
And it is an oversight on both of our thoughts that we missed.
No, I had it there. I wanted to talk about it, and it was
Oh no,
like,
I missed it. I
yeah.
missed it because I thought it was a disco record.
Well, I mean, I think T. La Rock, It's Yours is one that I miss. Matt
You
Max of the
missed it.
Super Chat says,
You think that's a top 50 song?
I mean, it's Def Jam's first record. So, again, if we want to talk about impact, it's hard to.
Ain't no Beastie Boys records on here. They really built Def Jam, them and LL. I mean, ain't no
right.
Beastie Boys records on here, Mike.
Yeah, you're right. And
I'm talking about building Def Jam,
yeah.
building rap seminal label. That's Beasties and LL. We only got one LL song, no Beastie song.
Yeah. MCA actually was the one that made the call to get LL too. If we want to be that technical. Mad Max in the Super Chat says, and you know I love the Beasties. Now, for everybody who wants to say I say whatever about Eminem, this, that, and the third, I give the Beasties their props. I don't think they get enough props.
Jockin' Mike D to my dismay.
And I got to give a shout out to Mike D, the real Mike D. I think people thought that it was him that put out that list. That's why they were being so nice about it, because everybody was like, this list is great. This is well thought out. I'm like, man, people don't normally react to lists like this. I'm like, yo, y'all think this Mike D from the Beastie Boys, huh?
It's very problematic. It's very problematic that you can catch some smoke like that. You know what I mean?
I'm taking Mike D's identity for a second. I appreciate that, sir. Mad Max with the Super Chat says, someone on the comment section said that they beef with Nas. Their beef with Nas is that he has the same vocal tone, so he sounds like he's rambling, and I can't. He said I can't hear it now. I guess he means I can't unhear it now. I don't know. I think that maybe that's an acquired taste thing. I think that maybe people are looking for a certain vocal inflection that. I don't know.
He doesn't vocally inflect like Jay or Biggie does, but neither do most MCs or Eminem or Busta Rhymes. It's like they're guys that part of their flow is to vocally inflect. I'll give you somebody whose voice never changes. Mike, Meth voice never changes. Nobody says anything.
That's true.
Like his tone, his pitch, where you see Meth go, no.
What do you say to somebody you hate?
Or anyone trying to bring trouble your way? Want to resolve things in a bloody way, then study your tape of NWA. One day I was walking by with a Walkman on.
Speaking of can't unhear
you got a Mike. Those some high level literary devices going on, Mike.
I can't
one day
unhear.
I was walking by with a Walkman on. Oh no, Mike.
I can't unhear the Glove saying that he thought it was Bugs Bunny or something.
Is that how you feel about what Glove said? But Glove also said, Glove said a couple. Glove. A whole lifetime worth of education. Doing
man. Go check that out.
A lifetime worth of education. That's why Mike Glove's the main reason I'm like making a hit list, because he made me realize it's like, no. Like, I know that niggas like you love Little Ghetto Boy. He's like, but we need to go triple platinum. So we gonna play Let Me Ride first.
Again,
then we gonna play Little Ghetto Boy Coop, a little later. Coop.
I
dig that.
But Coop, that's my whole point. Money. Coop, that's my whole point with Illmatic. Now I get it. We're all close to Illmatic. It's an incredible album, but it doesn't have those songs that we're going to sell at those records. The Chronic does. Like, you could go to Dre Day. You could go to Let Me Ride. You could go to G Thing. Those are going to sell you records.
I agree, but I think, and this is very much NWA, Like, how about this? People don't understand this. Mike, it's 1993 going into 94. Outside of A Tribe Called Quest, Mike, who's really prominent on the hip hop scene in New York as far as like the critics and the media and record sales will tell you is like, no, these, because Rakim and Slick Rick and Kane and KRS is the only one floating around that early 90s time. Like Rest in Juice is out like 91, 92. You know what I'm saying?
You got guys like Black Moon running around, you know what I'm saying,
that is not enough to compete with Dre and Snoop and Ice Cube and Tupac.
I agree.
Respectfully speaking, that is not enough.
I agree with that. I'm just telling you what was going on, like, you know. But those people had singles and stuff too, you know.
Right, but what I'm trying to explain to you is that part of why Illmatic sounds the way that it does because the talk in New York is about bringing that classic New York hip hop sound back because Ice Cube, Tupac, Dr. Dre, and Snoop, not only are these motherfuckers running amok, but they're making hit records. They're going multi-platinum with ease. And so for the New Yorker and the New York state of mind at the time was not to make it about that and bring it back to the roots and the fundamentals. And that is what a 17 and 18 and 19-year-old Nas is being subjected to. He's being subjected to a New York climate that's telling him to take it back to the root and to the essence and to not make a gin and juice and a what's my name and a good day and a I get around. They're telling him not to make these records. That's why it sounds that way.
And mission accomplished. But you also have to understand if you're going to take on that approach, you're probably not going to sell a bunch of records either.
Right. So better product. So in my opinion, better product doesn't reflect the sales. And that's why I've always said the music needs to reflect the artistry. Illmatic is my talking point of that, because if music really reflected artistry in the business side of things the way it was supposed to, well, that album's fucking 3 or 4 million at least, or for its time, because that's what his contemporaries that were making comparable products were moving. The Chronic is quadruple. Doggy Style is quintuple. All the Ice Cube shit's platinum, double platinum. Ice Cube, no. Tupac before Death Row had 2 multi-platinum albums. I'm going to say it again. Tupac before Death Row had 2 platinum albums.
You're missing a big factor, though. What sold those records?
I get around. Keep it. No, they're telling him not to make these records.
I'm just saying. That's what comes with it. You can't.
They're telling the 17, 18, 19-year-old child prodigy on the mic. It's like, no. Do kick that lyrics of fury shit. Kick that Cool G rap wanted dead or alive shit.
I understand that. But see, this is the thing, man. If centers are what's winning you championships, you can't get mad when you go out there and draft a guard because you want to fill seats in the stadium and you don't win a championship. That was what that's what they set out to do. They did that, and that's what it is.
They're the originators. They're the creators. He's their prodigal son.
Yeah.
They're like, no. Do it the New York. Mike, the album starts off with New York state of mind. It's a tone setter for reasons. It's letting you know that it's like, no. What did he say? Straight from the motherfucking dungeons of rap. We're fake. He letting you know what the motif and the thesis statement is on New York state of mind. It's fucking taken from a Rakim sample off Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em in 91. You get what I'm saying? They letting you know what time it is. Like, think about this. This is what I mean. They letting you know what time it is. They taking the Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em sample for 91, like right before Dre and Snoop and Deep Cover and all that shit started popping. Straight from the motherfucking dungeons of rap. Like, we gonna take it back to right before these niggas took our shit and started flipping it and selling more records than us and making bigger hits than us. Right.
Well, you know what hit records do also? And I think that this is something, they sell records, but hit records are also national, and they don't come off as, regional to, whatever that native land is. And that happens for a lot of Southern acts. That happens for a lot of East Coast acts. That happens for a lot of West Coast acts. But what separates the stars in those scenarios is that they have these records like I Get Around that everybody's playing, not just people in the Bay. You know what I mean? And that's why the hit records sell the records, because the hit records actually jump out of the regions. And that's why we were just noting songs like Never Scared.
I
Jumped out
agree
of the
with that
region.
to a degree, but what I would submit to you is that the machine has something to play in that. I'll
Of
never
course.
forget. You know, I'm a big Prince fan, so I like watch everything and all things Prince when possible. His Larry King interview, when he speaks to the job of him as an artist and has a record company, and he speaks to the fact he's like, oh well, Purple Rain, sells 20 million albums worldwide. He's like, but then like Around the World in a Day, sells like 2 million records. He's like, now is something wrong with me or is something wrong with the process about how this product is being put together and pushed out? Now, in fairness to him, uh, he's right, because Raspberry Beret's got some great hits. The Ladder, which Tupac references in I Get Around, is on Around the World in a Day. Now everybody's looking for the Ladder. That's a Prince reference from The Ladder, which is the Into Around the World in a Day. Raspberry Beret is on Around the World in a Day, which I think is one of Prince's best actual hit records. I would consider that to be a top 10 Prince hit record, Raspberry Beret.
Crossover record, yeah.
Crossover record. So he's looking at it like, I just went diamond twice. He's like, why this shit ain't, moving? It's like, is it me or is it the label? And so what I would submit to you is that, like, I want you to understand that with the exception of Ice Cube, and part of why Ice Cube shit moves is because Ice Cube was doing West Coast shit with East Coast production, so he got both sides. But everybody else I'm talking about is part of a machine called Interscope. And Interscope, quite frankly, as far as running the hip-hop machine, figured out how to run the hip-hop machine better than Sony Columbia did. And so that does have something to do with it. Like they figured out how to sell Tupac. No, let me finish, Mike. They figured out how to sell Tupac, Snoop, and Dre before Columbia figured how to sell the Fugees and Nas. And you can see the evidence in the fucking timing of it. Like, because it took Columbia failing with Illmatic and Blunted on Reality commercially for us to get It Was Written in the score.
Can I go in now?
Go all the way in, Mike.
Man, I mean, Interscope still had something to work with, and I think that, and that's the part that the artist plays in it. You have to get the people in that building ready to move. Now, I do believe that the people at Interscope were better executives, at least for hip hop, than the people at Columbia were. But I also think that these guys are trying to make money. And if you have a record that they can sell, they're going to put it out. They want to sell records. Now, the thing that Interscope does have over Columbia, I think Columbia had music people in the building, but Jimmy Iovine is something else, different. Man, and he is different. Because, He's different. When I heard Jimmy Iovine tell that story about the fact that Chronic 2001 was done and they were going to put out the next episode as the first single, and he hears that album that we heard without Still DRE and tells Dr. Dre, you don't have a first single yet, that's brilliant. Because most people, myself included, would have been like, oh yeah, let's go. We're ready to go. Next episode, first single, we about to sell some records. But see, people at Columbia would have just let that ride. And I will give Jimmy Iovine that and the people at Interscope that. They do know what they're doing in that light, but they have their hands on the music and they know the hit is going to carry that record too. And they're willing to go out there and make sure you have that hit. They did it with Eminem too. The fact that they gave him My Name Is, and that was his introduction, it's brilliant. They've handled his career brilliantly. Now that I will say.
There's not a white person that's more influential in hip-hop culture and the history of it and the direction of it than Jimmy Iovine.
Not even Rick Rubin?
No.
Not even Leroy Cohen?
Look at who Rick Rubin has produced versus who Jimmy Iovine has produced.
What about Leroy Cohen?
I'm going to say that again. Go look at who... Hold on. Jimmy Iovine, Interscope, that's Snoop, Dre, and Pac, as in you lose.
But... Rick Rubin is the co-founder of Def Jam, though. We talking about Public Enemy. We talking about Public Enemy, Slick Rick, LL Cool J, Beastie Boys. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel what you're saying, but
Mike, Dre, Snoop, Tupac, M, 50, Gang,
Kendrick.
That ain't
Kendrick.
No. We not about to play those games. I love Def Jam. On some rap shit, give me Def Jam. I say this respectfully. Much as I love Uncle L, you're not Snoop, Mike. Much as I love Rick Rubin, He not Dr. Dre. All right? Let's go and get that right. As much as you love the Beastie Boys, Mike, they not Eminem.
I like the Beastie Boys music more, but okay, I feel you.
They not M.
It's a group versus one person, so that's not.
And he's still better than the group one.
I don't think he makes better music than them, but
he doesn't have a
he's
license
better
to ill.
rapper.
He doesn't have a license to ill, in my opinion. But very few people have a license to ill, in my opinion.
I don't think he has a Paul's Boutique, in my opinion, either. But
I would disagree. I think the Eminem Show is better than Paul's Boutique. You have a lot to do with that, coincidentally enough.
I disagree, but Eminem Show is his best album.
But what I'm saying with all that is that like no. But listen, to what I'm saying about Jimmy Iovine. That's a music guy.
He is a music guy. Yep.
His career started off as an engineer for John Lennon and Bruce Springsteen. Yeah. That's different.
Yeah, it's a music guy.
No, it's not just the fact that he's walking into the room and telling Dre that he don't have a first single. It's about music-wise. He's actually one of the few people that can walk into a room with Dr. Dre and say that's not enough because that's what his resume looks like. Very few rap-driven labels or businesses have ever had a Jimmy Iovine.
Let me ask you this.
You got Jimmy Iovine, you got Sylvia Rhone, you have Clive, and even with Sylvia and Clive, that's more R&B and rap than it is rap. No, Jimmy his rap
I was going to say L.A. too. LA's in
LA to a degree, Mike. LA on some R&B shit too, Mike, more than he is on some rap shit. Outkast is his coup on some rap shit. The rest of it is TLC and Usher.
Well, he got Goody Mob too, but I think that the fact that you're right. He's more centered in R&B. Gave Organized Noise the license to be able to be free with those acts.
But Face didn't come down to the South to find Goody Mob and Outkast. They came down about TLC and Usher and Escape and Tony Braxton. Tony Braxton, Mike, you want to talk about moving some numbers out the gate? She triple, quadruple out the gate.
Oh, most definitely. What I was going to ask you, though, let's just say hypothetically, Jimmy Iovine is at Columbia, and Nas is there, and Jimmy Iovine hears Illmatic. What does he say?
He's going to tell them stuff like this. Like, oh, you took the One Love stuff from he's like, that's not big enough. He's like, that's not going to be big enough. He's like, because that's not bigger than the original version. What are we taking? We need to take stuff that's going to match and be as big as the original. Now, either we're making some original hip-hop shit or we're taking it and we're making it bigger, but we're not going to play the in-between now. So this Human Nature sample, this Yearning for Your Love sample, this One Love playoff of Houdini, like, no, we're going to have to make that bigger.
Because this isn't going to work. He makes the album?
This isn't big enough for what I hear from him.
Do you think he makes the album better or more compromised and watered down?
It's probably not that. How about this? That hardcore New York hip hop base, that what I like to call their Illmatic fans, are not Nas fans. Well, you have less Illmatic fans, but you have more Nas fans. And so here's what I mean about having more Nas fans. Well, his first Garden show isn't fucking last month if Jimmy Iovine's at Columbia. Period.
Okay. 36 Chambers in the super chat.
Hold on, Mike, because if Steve Stout can make that motherfucker triple platinum, what you think Jimmy Iovine would have done for him? You know what? Do you think Steve Stout is Jimmy Iovine as a music mogul and musical genius?
I will say this, and I've been critical of Steve Stout over the years, especially when he, took control over Nas's career from a managerial standpoint. But I will say this, man, Steve Stout has made some great moves. And I think this resurgence that we're seeing from Nas and the fact that Nas hooked up with Hit Boy and the versatility and the fact that Nas doesn't really attach himself with, the old school tours and things like that, I can't help but think that probably comes from some of the conversations that Steve Stout's had. Now, Steve Stout's not a music guy like Jimmy Iovine, but he's a genius marketing guy.
He's a marketing guy.
Yeah, and again, it's funny you mentioned Steve Stout because they say Jimmy Iovine hit up Steve Stout to get Still DRE for Dre. And Steve Stout was that bridge between Jay-Z and Jimmy Iovine to get Jay to record Still DRE and send that over to Dr. Dre like the next day.
Did you hear that boss move? What's that you said? Jimmy Iovine called Steve Stout and it's like, pfft.
Yeah.
And what Steve Stout do, because that's Jimmy Iovine. That's different.
No, there's a hierarchy there. Yeah.
So no, I'm not knocking Stout. All I'm saying is that like, and Stout know this, there's a hierarchy to this shit.
Yeah.
And when Jimmy Iovine's in the fucking building, Mike, like even in 1992 as a music man, when The Chronic is being released, you understand this man musically in circles is legendary. Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen, John Lennon. No, he's already legendary in people's minds. Musically speaking, the hip hop community is not familiar with these things, but as a producer and as an engineer, as a music man, he is already a genius and legendary in a lot of people's minds. Mike, Interscope, if I'm not mistaken, No Doubt, Smashing Pumpkins. Remember that whole rock run? That's Jimmy too. Like Interscope was running rock and rap.
Yeah.
That's Jimmy. That's what I mean about him being a genius. When they're doing the Defiant ones and they're sitting down playing nothing but a G thing, he's like telling Dre, he's like, that's it. He's like, I've never heard that before.
He said, that's special, you know? And this is a guy who's coming from a non-rap world, too.
No,
but when you're a music person, you're a music person.
When you're a music person, you're a music person.
Yep.
So he can look at Dr. Dre and it's like, no, I've been in with John Lennon, Tom Petty, like the best of the best. Like in my field, I've been with the best of the best. That shit you just laid down right there, oh, that's better than any of the shit that I heard them do.
Well, see, that's how he knew that what Dre was doing was going to work with anybody who had ears. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have... And that's what I'm trying to say, and I'm not knocking anything that's regional, because there's things that my Atlanta ear picks up that some of y'all would probably listen to like, yo, this is trash. But it's something different when you're able to hit these chakras and sonics that hit anybody's ear that's from anywhere, and everyone feels the same way. That's how I put this list together. You know what I'm saying?
How about this? I'm going to tell you what.
To bring it all around.
Nothing but a G thing is probably the record that made Jimmy Iovine go, in the long run, I'm picking Dre over Suge.
Yeah,
right.
He already had.
Right. When you hear a beat like that, it's like, okay, push come to shove.
Well, Dre's the talent, and he's a music man. So
the producer that made that beat, that's the guy that's rolling with me. Now you see what Dre and Iovine have built, and you see where Suge is, right?
They built.
Now Suge is the one that forged that relationship, though.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, respectfully, everyone saying Drake is better than Nas or Jay doesn't understand hip-hop, and that goes for artists like Jim Jones who say this is blasphemy. Let me get through the rest of these super chats so we can move on and get up out of here. I know we've been in here for a minute. DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says, since the Wayne interview, I saw a bunch of surveys, and I'm shocked as to how many people have Wayne over Jay, Nas, Big, and Pop. That's based on what somebody means to a generation. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to refute that if somebody grew up only hearing Wayne and they weren't really around for Jay. It's kind of like if, again, we use sports analogies. It's like somebody growing up and all they saw was LeBron. And it's like, you want to tell them that Jordan's better. And it's like, how? To them, he'll never be. They didn't see it. Sean with the super chat. Go ahead.
No, do the super chats, Mike.
Sean with the super chat says, guys, how do you not, how don't you have Slippin' from DMX in the top 50? Well,
because we watched the verses versus Snoop. That's how.
I knew you were going to go there.
That's how. Why people acting like that didn't happen, Mike? Niggas be having selective memory. You saw what happened.
You got to press play, man.
That's what happened.
You got to press play.
Stop that. See what Snoop did to that song.
Web Visibility with the super chat says, where would you rank Mama Said Knock You Out and Planet Rock? I actually had Planet Rock on my sheet. I had Planet Rock on my sheet. I know there's a lot of controversy with that record.
How about this? Planet Rock is more hip hop to me than Rapper's Delight.
I had Planet Rock.
I feel more bad about Planet Rock not being on my list.
Yeah.
Than Rapper's Delight.
Planet Rock has to be on the list.
Matter of fact, somebody gonna have to go, right?
Yeah, 36 Chambers with a super chat says, wait, y'all don't have a single Rakim and Eric B track on the top 50? I had 3.
I paid in full. And Mike got 2. Mike put Eric B as president on there too. I'm gonna tell you why I didn't put Eric B as president on there, Mike. I don't think it's holding up in this era like it did in the era previous to it. Paid in full is. Like, when's the last time you heard somebody really play Eric B as president? Paid in full, I know, still getting circulated.
I came in the door, said it
No,
before.
it's epic, Mike. It's epic, Mike. It's some of the best bars ever.
And then what it did, that is the change right there. When that record dropped, I remember hearing, I think it was Q-Tip, Pharrell, and some other people were talking. They were like, the summer when that shit dropped, everything changed.
Mike, I'm taking Flavor in the Air out and I'm putting Planet Rock in.
Okay, I'm feel you on that. 36 Chambers of the Super Chat says, he was talking about the Rakim, Eric being Rakim. He said, that feels blasphemous. Bet you could put the best 5 tracks from them against this list and beat half of the list respectfully. Yeah, definitely.
Sounds some rap shit.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm talking about Microphone Fiend. Follow the leader. I felt bad about Microphone Fiend not making this list, Mike.
Me too. Web Visibility with Super Chat says, what do you guys think about the new Hit Boy / Alchemist Slipping in the Darkness? It's dope.
That shit fire.
Yeah. 36 Chambers with the Super Chat.
Hit Boy may be hitting me up tomorrow. I don't know.
Okay. Well, let us know. I think I saw that on Twitter.
We gonna see if we can make it official, Mike. But if it's official, you know what I mean, I'm gonna record it and motherfucking make it do what it do. I actually need to come up with some potential questions and stuff. Like I kind of know what I want to ask him, Mike. Here's how the interview starts. You're like, so I know you've been watching the show. So back to this Death Row East shit.
Not Death Row East, Lord. Yeah, get
Can we
your.
talk about the Death Row East, nigga? Can we talk about the Death Row East? I know you a West Coast nigga.
Get the interview questions together. 36 Chambers of the Super Chat says, whole chat saying Rapper's Delight gotta be there. Okay, gotta listen to the people. It's Rapper's Delight. JB was here with the Super Chat says, if Rapper's Delight ain't on the list, it's trash. Okay. I love the fact that people are caping for Rapper's Delight.
So what are we taking off, Mike? Like, what are you taking off your list for Rapper's Delight? I'm taking off Passing Me By the Far Side.
Let's see. Let me get to my list real quick.
Beautiful thing about what we do is that you have input.
Let's see. I mean, see, this is the thing. If I take out something, it's going to have to be something from a similar era, if that makes sense.
No, see, that's what I'm saying is like the stuff that I was borderline about. It's like, because I knew... Mike, when we do stuff like this, it's like you know you're gonna miss stuff because you're a human being.
Yeah.
And errors happen with human beings. It's like Rapper's Delight, Planet Rock. It's like no, that's an error. It's like Passing Me By, gotta go, and Flavor in Your Ear, gotta go. Flavor in Your Ear remix is better.
So mostly this is how I broke it down. This is how I broke it down, right? You got 16 songs from the 80s, 4 songs from the 2000s. 1 song from the 2010s on, and 29 songs from the 90s.
Who, me?
Yeah. I got...
Is it any songs from the 90s? I thought I had more 80s songs. Hold on.
No, you had 16 80s songs, 29 songs from the 90s, 1 song from the 2010s, that was March Madness, and 4 songs from the 2000s.
No, that sounds about right, Mike. I thought the 80s was going to get more love. Well, actually, now it would be 18 80s songs now because I just put Planet Rock and Rapper's Delight in.
And it would be 27.
So Passing Me By and Flavor in Your Ear got taken out, so it would be 27-18 now, respectfully.
So I got 14 songs from the 80s, 9 from the 2000s, 5 from the 2010s, and 22 from the 90s. Let me see. Let me look at my list. What am I taking out?
So I just lost 2 90s records for 2 80s records. So it's 18, 27, and 4, and 1.
I don't know what I'm taking out, man. I got the message.
You can take All Right off, Mike. That's what you can do. You take that shit off. You take All Right off. That's what you can do. What you mean? What can I do? Why are you sitting up here playing, nigga?
If we don't have Mike, a Kendrick record,
Mike, All Right or Planet Rock?
Right
now.
No, that's fair.
Thank you. And that's why All Right's leaving the list. Because as soon as I looked at Flavor in Your Ear and Passing Me By, I was like, man, I can't put Rapper's Delight and Planet Rock like ahead.
Do you guys feel like All Right is one of the 50 best hip hop songs of all time? I want to know. Rockashot with the Super Chat says, play that beat, Planet Rock, PSK. I love PSK. Insane in the Brain. You're getting a lot of Cypress Hill love.
That insane in the brain. I didn't know it was carrying like that. I thought Jump Around would have got more love.
Yeah, people ain't rocking with Jump Around. Rock a Shot with the super chat says NYC was divided. Dub C stuck together, West Coast stuck together. Helped sales. Well, that happened with the South too.
See, this is what I'm saying, Mike, about how the West Coast be running shit, Mike. We ain't talked about Bow Down. We Be Clubbing.
Yeah.
We Be Clubbing, really Ice Cube's biggest single. Yeah. While we talking this shit about like what's big, We Be Clubbing bigger than Good Day. Yay.
Lex Diesel with the super chat says, y'all might have to consider these songs already. Y'all might have considered these songs already, excuse me. But just making sure you didn't forget about Fight the Power, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See, and Get Up, Get Out, and Get Some. Get Up, Get Out's great.
Better record. Players Ball's the moment.
Players Ball is the moment.
Hold on. Outkast, and this is what I mean, I picked Players Ball. Outkast and Scarface are the most important pieces on our Southern chessboard. You understand what I'm saying? There's not a more important MC as a solo artist. There's not a more important group.
Mad Max says,
buy-in is Players Ball.
Mad Max,
that's where you put your money on the table.
Mad Max in the super chat says, now LL's not Snoop. Snoop is viewed like Cardi, a personality. We love with a catalog, yes, but he's not LL. You wouldn't say that about Rakim.
Better than LL.
Stop.
No, you're absolutely right, because he's better than LL.
You think Snoop's better than LL like that?
Mike, Doggy Style has as many hits on that one album as L got on his first three. What we doing? That's why I keep telling you. And this is after the Chronic and Deep cover. What are we doing? This is after the Murder Was the Case soundtrack. You're goddamn right. I keep trying to. He's rap's first real superstar. Stick that in your head and deal with it. Rap's first real big superstar didn't come from New York. Came from Long Beach, California. He's the author of The Chronic and Doggy Style. Murder Was the Case. Mike Dog. Yes.
I think LL's rap's first superstar, in my opinion. But I see what you're saying.
He's rap's first star. I said super.
You don't think LL's super?
Verb. Super's a verb, as in supreme.
Our man with the super chat says, peace. Paul's Boutique is way better than the Eminem Show. Paul's Boutique is a sampling masterpiece. Agreed. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, Columbia had Tommy Mottola. Have you heard Nas's demo songs before Illmatic? They made him blow up. I won't bring up the beats. LOL.
Name the rapper that's associated with Tommy Mottola's greatness, because I can show you who Sylvia Rhone and Jimmy Iovine and even Clive is tied to. Stop that. Tommy Mottola's last pull was Mariah. That's like 90. What is we doing?
Tommy Mottola ain't got no more rap stars under his belt?
Where?
Can't think of any.
Tommy Mottola funnel into the rap business?
Mo Better Code with the super chat says, y'all, Kendrick and Drake have a top 50 song. That's why I just asked. I say All Right by Kendrick. I don't think Drake does. Do you guys think All Right is a top 50 hip hop song?
No, I got a song that I think is better than All Right, though, that I think we might need to put in. And it definitely will be on my hit list, but I thought about putting it on my regular list, Mike. You want to know what it is?
What's that?
Mike, YOLO with Wayne and Drake.
Nah.
Mike, that record's pretty big, Mike. And it's both of them. And it's a whole acronym. It's a whole cultural moment. It's part of the lexicon. You only live once. YOLO. Tell me that's not part of the lexicon now the same way Bling Bling is.
And it's Wayne and Drake.
Hold on. Like and it's Wayne and Drake getting busy on some rap shit, Mike. It's a rap song. It's a rap song. It's a hit record, but it's a rap song. They rapping on there. Like Wayne, they're getting sick on there.
I think They Know is the record for them too, but They Know.
No.
Tell me what's really going on.
Tell me.
No, that's the record I'm talking about. My bad. No, I didn't mean They Know. I'm talking about Shawty Low, but nah. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Tell me. Drizzy back up in the thing. Yeah. What's happening? Yeah. That one.
Off of surgery, but I'm back again. I'm about to win it like a motherfucking scratch and win. I'm about my money like a motherfucking scratch and win. And that's when, Wayne's like,
I won't have a model wife.
Yeah.
Drizzy.
I think that's the
with
one.
The bun sample.
Yeah.
Right. Drake, you got him, right? Yeah, I got him. But yeah, I remember that.
But I still don't think that's the top 50.
No,
Vanguard
YOLO's
TV
better
with
than
the
that.
super
That
chat.
record's bigger, but YOLO's better.
Vanguard TV with the super chat says, "Hey Love should have made the list." Hey Love.
Hey Love.
Talking about
Like
De La?
LL Cool J, Hey Lover.
I think he's talking about De La.
Neither though.
Mad Max with the super chat says, "Coop being nasty with the LL and YOLO forever is the song. If anything, I hear people saying that forever and started from the bottom, but I just don't know what to replace.
I like started from the bottom, but I like 0 to 100 more than I like started from the bottom.
So y'all
but
cool
YOLO,
with
Mike,
me?
But YOLO's the moment, Mike, because here's the thing. This is what I mean. Like YOLO's the record. It's their rap song that all the girls know and love too, and they don't have a lot of rap songs like that. Like they have a lot of records that they made for that crowd that know those records. YOLO's not for the ladies, and the ladies know YOLO, and they love it.
People are saying
it's still
YOLO
an acronym,
is rap.
Mike. It's the modern day cream. You only live once. That's the motto. The motto. That's what it's called. The motto. Yeah.
I don't think people say YOLO like that anymore, though.
Before its time, just like people don't say bling bling anymore, though. Before its time, Mike, you want to talk about what's biggest and baddest in its era, because it's not like people are acting like Drake and Wayne have had the type of careers where it's like their run's been longer than other people's. No, they had the same 4 to 5 year run as everybody else, and YOLO might be the song.
Mad Max says nobody says YOLO anymore, so Mad Max is our
Mad Max.
nigga.
Mad Max. You've been watching this podcast so long, I'm starting to think you're 35 now. Nobody trusts your young opinion anymore. Now get off my lawn.
He knows what he's talking about. Okay, this is what I want to do before we get out of here.
Extra credit.
You know what? We're gonna have to spend Friday on this MC list. I didn't know this was gonna take the whole show. We 3 hours in.
I've been telling you, Mike, man, we can't never get this MC list done.
I want to see this though. What records do we have that are the same? And maybe we can kind of.
I'm gonna footnote the records that we have that are saying. I think "Let My Mind Playing Tricks on Me."
Yep.
You have seen a man die by Scarface?
No, I do not.
Shame on you.
I don't.
You have Cell Therapy?
Yep.
You got What You Know?
Yep.
Got March Madness?
Yep.
You got High? No, you don't, because
No.
you got Back That Ass Up. Hold on. You don't have Get Low. You don't have It's Funky Enough. You got What's My Name, but you don't have Gin and Juice.
Yep.
You got Nothing But a G Thing.
Yep.
You got Good Day.
Yep.
Dear Mama.
Yep.
California Love.
Yep.
Straight Outta Compton.
Yep.
Boys in the Hood.
No.
Well, I mean, this is New Edition, but Rapper's Delight.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I have to.
Yeah, you don't have to. I put Benita in too, Mike. I took the light out, so Benita.
Yep.
Lose Yourself. No, you don't have that, Mike.
I don't have that.
You're a hater. Jesus Walks.
Yes.
We didn't even talk about that. That's amazing that we actually didn't talk about Kanye with him actually having a song in here.
Yeah.
The Crossroads.
Yep.
Remix, of course.
Yep.
Shook Ones Part 2.
Yep.
The Message.
Yep.
Sucker MCs.
Yep.
Freaks Come Out.
Yep.
Rock the Bells.
Yep.
Lottie Dottie or The Show.
I don't have either one of those.
You're fired. Lose your car. Nobody Beats the Biz.
Nope. I
No,
got
you have Fight the Power.
Yeah, I got that.
Children's Story.
Yep.
Ain't No Half Stepping.
Yep.
My Philosophy.
Yep.
So happy you put that in there. Paid in Full.
Yep.
Cream.
Yeah. My Philosophy is brilliant.
My Philosophy is one of the best mic performances ever recorded on wax.
It's incredible, man. My Philosophy is brilliant.
I mean, if you really want to go rhyme for rhyme, Mike, talk like 10 greatest actual rhymes of all time. Right.
How many MCs must get dissed?
Trouble T. Roy.
Of course. Top 5 hip hop song all time.
Might be top 5, Mike. Arguable. Definitely top 10. The Symphony.
Yep.
All About the Benjamins.
Yep.
One More Chance remix.
Yep.
I'll Be There For You.
No.
Doo-Wop.
Yep.
Get At Me Dog.
Nope.
The World Is Yours.
Nope.
Dead Presidents 2.
Nope.
New Edition with Planet Rock.
Yeah, I guess I have to have Planet
You have
Rock.
to fit Planet Rock in there somewhere. Yeah, can't be. I can't be having the Far Side passing me by on there and Planet Rock ain't on the list. It's
No, that's true.
That ain't how this rap shit work. In the Club.
Yep.
If I Rule the World.
No.
Hard Knock Life.
No.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. We have 31 of the same songs, actually.
Okay. So I guess those.
So the disparity is not as wide as it may appear upon first gander.
Yeah. You don't have Clips grinding. Why?
I don't. Because this is what I mean about how I measure the moment and the impact. What did grinding do for the Clips? Who are they to people? Because I find myself always fighting for them and having to explain to people who they are, which means grinding didn't do its job.
Interesting.
Right.
Or maybe
it's closer. How about this, Mike?
Maybe it's one of those Montel Jordan situations where they just made a song that was bigger than them. And not saying that in a disrespectful way, it's just one of the biggest songs ever. And it's like, if you're a group of their ilk and the type of music they make, you're not supposed to make records as big as a Grinder.
Now, Mike, I say this respectfully because I love me some grinding. Damn near every record on Hell Hath No Fury is better than grinding, and that's my problem with grinding.
Wow. I can't believe you feel like that.
The intro, the Re-Up Gang intro to Hell Hath No Fury, definitely Keys Open Doors. Oh my God, Keys Open Doors. Hello New World, Right Around Shining, Wamp Wamp, Mr. Me Too.
You think those records are better than Grinding? Now, I'll give you maybe Mr. Me Too.
Grinding, Mike, is about a beat and a sound that people hadn't heard before, and I love some grinding. But here's what I'm saying. What grinding was supposed to do, how about this? And sometimes maybe it's the talk, but it seems like there's a ceiling on the talk. It's like when you release something like a grinding or a Glaciers of Ice. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like it never really become what it should really become. I think that's about the beat, Mike. They've made better records. Like Keys Open Doors. Oh, Mike, I'm still playing Keys Open Doors like they dropped it yesterday. And I love grinding, but what did grinding do for them?
Grinding's a moment. It did everything
I'm
for
going to
the
ask
game.
you again what it did for them.
I think that, again, we're looking at this from two different lenses. It did a lot for the game. Like, what you get after grinding, you get Tipsy by J-Quan. You get, you know what I'm saying, that whole Lumi D wave with the
so
like
the
drums
of it. You're not talking about what it did for the MCs?
No, but I'm talking about what it did for the game. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm looking at what these songs did in the scope of hip hop. Hip hop's 50, not the Clips. You know what I'm saying?
No, I love grinding, Mike. How about this? On my singles list, it's definitely on.
What did it do for the lunch tables, man?
Okay, so here's what I tell you. Okay, Mike, how about this? This is what I mean. Grinding are all about the Benjamins.
That's all about the Benjamins, but I got them both on there.
Grinding or ain't no half stepping.
Ain't no half stepping.
Mike, grinding or Freaks Come Out at Night.
Freaks Come Out at Night.
Grinding or Shook Ones Part 2.
Shook Ones.
Grinding or Bonita.
That's Bonita.
Grinding or Straight Outta Compton.
Straight Outta Compton.
Grinding or What's My Name.
What's My Name.
Grinding or Cell Therapy.
Cell Therapy.
That's why it didn't make my list, Mike.
But
every time I run down the record, Mike.
Everything you named. No, let me finish.
For I don't know how long.
Everything you named was in the 80s and 90s. Now, take it an era further.
What year is grinding?
Grinding's 2002. So take it into the 2000s and start comparing.
What you know are grinding?
Huh.
In the club or grinding?
in the club has to get that, but I like grinding more. I don't know. And if somebody
I like
said
grinding
grinding,
more than a lot of these records,
yeah,
Mike. Do you see what I'm saying when I'm putting it up
yeah,
against these other records? Okay.
okay.
I'm just I'm just
I'm
being
not saying
honest. Like
that.
I'm just being honest when we're like putting it out there. Hold on, let's go. Let's Mike, grinding or March Madness.
I think
Right. You
March
see,
Madness means more to people. Yeah, I
that's
like
the problem
grinding
with
more, but
grinding,
yeah.
Mike. Every era that you go to and go pick the best records, grinding starts losing to those songs. That's why I didn't pick it because I don't want that for them. I'm better. I'd rather just put it on the hit list and do that shit.
You don't think Hip Hop Parade makes it?
I got OPP and Hip Hop Parade starting my hit list. Those are literally the first two songs.
Well, see, this is the thing that I have with this whole notion of a hit list. I feel the same way about those records like I feel about the Loonies. I don't think that like what Tretch was doing and KG and Vinny, they were making some street records that just happened to cross over. Like they weren't out here trying to make the hit records that these records became. Like OPP is some street shit. It just
It
happened
is.
to cross over.
No,
Hip Hop
no, Mike.
Parade, they're not rapping to, they're not out here singing on these records. You know what I'm saying?
I say this respectfully and not just about KG production wise, but the grown up in me, not the child in me that listens to these records, not the teenager in me that listens to these records. For what I know about music now, Mike, or for as much as you niggas like to sample Stevie Wonder, James Brown, Michael Jackson, don't tell me that you're not trying to make a hit when you are literally sampling the biggest fucking hit makers from the previous era. What's the OPP sample from, Mike?
That's an ABC.
Okay, but they not trying to make a hit. Nah, Mike, that's our hip hop mind confusing us with that bullshit and trying to make it seem like, no, they was making some shit for the streets, but they was hoping that it popped over. That's why they used the Jackson 5 ABC.
Well, what do
That's
you
why
think about
James
Hip Hop
Brown's
Parade?
that's why James Brown's loops and kicks are found through. How about this, Mike? I was saying this to a friend the other day, Mike, and you might be right about this. I was like, I have yet to listen to a record where I know how well James Brown can sing. But I am very, very clear that his records are almost better than everybody's records from his era. And there's a very, very clear reason why fucking Eric B., the Bomb Squad, Dr. Dre, you fucking name it, is sampling James Brown records, sampling Jackson 5 records, Mike, there's a reason that on Illmatic, the Gap's Yearning for Your Love and Human Nature are being sampled. Niggas is trying to make hit records. That's what I realized when I talked to the Glove, and that what he made me realize about how this game really goes. He's like, he was trying to tell me in a nice way because Glove actually, I think, likes me as a person. You're like, I feel like Glove fuck with me as a person. He trying to tell me in a nice way, young blood. All them niggas that you bigging up for that street shit was trying to make those big records that we was making.
Of course.
Anyway. So when you're talking about OPP being some street shit, no, Mike, they was hoping that it blow. That's why they used the ABC sample.
Well, everybody's hoping stuff blows, and people were using a lot of samples. But again, what I'm saying, a Hip Hop Parade, and that's not a for sure hit. Like the group,
like it's about it. That's what I'm saying. Like when I listen to it now, I'm like, man, this is about as sure as it gets.
You think
when
so?
I listen to the
well, I mean, because it's proven now.
Boom, 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 boom.
It's
I'm like, when I listen to that, I'm like, oh man, I'm like game in a bag. And this is what I mean. It's not like they don't do their job. Tretch sells you before he even starts rhyming. Mike, Arm Me with Harmony is one of the best come-ins in rap history. We all know it. Arm Me with Harmony. Boom, 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 boom. No, Mike, it's all part of the motion, but they motion is to make the hit record. Stop that.
I mean, I think anybody. No,
they was trying to make it ain't hard to tell a hit record for the East Coast. It wasn't gonna be no gin and juice, but no, Mike, the same. No, that's why they're using the Human Nature sample. That's why they're using the Yearning for Your Love sample, Mike. You know how that Yearning for Your Love beat play. Don't tell me that shit shouldn't be no singing that trying. One love, one love. One love. They literally pulling from the. No,
I think I may have worded. Look, I may have worded that.
Hits.
I may have worded that poorly. I may have worded that poorly. Clearly, anybody who's getting in the studio, who's given a budget, and who's putting out records, they're trying to sell records. What I'm saying is, they couldn't quantify how big a record like Hip Hop Parade was gonna be. It's not like this is an act that you know what I'm saying, is like a juggernaut in the game at that point. Like OPP came out of nowhere, right? And I think that
No.
OPP is one of
They
those
were big.
singles. No, they were big. But OPP is one of those singles where it's like, can you follow this up? And they did. And they followed it up with a record that is bigger, actually. I personally like OPP more, but Hip Hop Parade is a hip hop anthem. Like, Hip Hop
Hold on.
Parade is the moment when we knew that Naughty by Nature was the go-to guys for anthems. They are the second plane to hit the towers. Like the first one, it was like, okay, this could be a fluke, right? But Hip Hop Parade was that moment where it's like, okay, these
No,
guys got
hip hop parade
anthems.
is a confirmation ceremony. It's a
Yeah,
confirmation.
and it's an
But here's what
ode
I
to
mean.
hip hop on top of that.
But stylistically, this is what I'm saying. Tretch approached it differently. He's saying stuff like, I love women in all ways, hip hop parade. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like on the like he's talking about women in a more nefarious manner on OPP. The language and the slang is different on
Well, that's
hip hop
growth.
parade. It's more inclusive. But what I'm trying to tell you is that they are still trying to get off with that Jackson 5 sample. Like, that's what I'm saying is like they don't need the Jackson 5 sample anymore. They know how to make a more friendly record and make it more all-encompassing. They're out of the brick city now. They're out of Jersey. They done went and toured. They done seen the world. They know how to finesse the game better. That's what part of the process is, Mike. That's what I'm trying to tell you is that, like, Nas realized something. Like, how about this, Mike? What's If I Ruled the World Again?
What do you mean?
Where's the sample come from?
Oh yeah, that comes from Houdini. That comes from Curtis Blow. It's all over the place. It's
So
very
thank
hip-hop.
you. So really, Mike, see, and here's what I'm saying. What Steve Stout did for Nas is like, no. He's like, you taking these old samples from the R&B records didn't work for you on Illmatic, i.e., It Ain't Hard to Tell, Life's a Bitch. One Love, even though that's on some rap
Even though
shit.
that's on some rap shit.
Right. He like, no, that didn't work for you. He like,
It's yours for the world is yours. That's on some rap shit.
and Hey Young World. I think It's Yours and Hey Young World have a part to play in The World Is Yours. And Scarface's album, The World Is Yours, which literally is being dropped the year before Illmatic comes out. So all that plays a part in all that. Stout's like, nah, we gonna take this rap shit and make this rap shit come work for you because here's the thing. You've been deified as a rap god and a rap nigga. So we gonna take this Curtis Blow and this Houdini shit and we gonna make that work. And that work, because it's in Nas's pocket, as a core hip hop artist. So sometimes the hit making, and there's where Stout is a genius. No. He found out what worked for Nas best.
Yeah.
Whereas
Did a
guys
great job.
on the first, and this is what I'm saying about Illmatic, Mike, when I talk about the production, it's like, if y'all think that he did such a great job, why did so much have to change for It Was Written to Get Made if that production job was so great? No, the Human Nature. No, Mike, the Human Nature sample and the Life's a Bit in the Gap Band Yearning for Your Love. No, that's great. But how did it fare for him? Because here's what I know. I know that fucking If I Ruled the World sample fared way better than every fucking sample on Illmatic. Some shit that got pushed out.
It's a hit record made for radio. I don't think they tailor made anything for radio on Illmatic. And you know, again,
imagine smoking weed in the street without cops harassing. He's still on his street shit.
Yeah, but I'm just saying everything around it, the backdrop, the hook, and once again, like I told you before, like an hour or so back, a singing hook. You got melodies now.
No,
there
it
are
matters.
no
No,
melodies.
all that shit matters.
There are no melodies on Illmatic.
No, Mike. The World Is Yours is a melody. That's not true.
But it's not a real singer on it. Like in '94, the hit records, especially that were coming out of the East Coast, you actually needed a singer on them.
You actually needed an R&B singer on it.
Yeah, because at the time, urban radio hadn't totally transitioned over to hip hop, so it was kind of a meshing of things. That's why you had Meth and Mary and the success with that. You needed an R&B person on this rapper's record for it to actually get played on urban radio in that way, and Illmatic doesn't have that.
It doesn't, but he also spoke to that on God's Son on Heaven. He said making a hit single is easy. Put a platinum R&B bitch on your hook. There you go with a platinum CD.
No, I agree with that. And I think it's more difficult to do.
He's like, these records that y'all think are so great, They're not really They're really like a formula to make it work.
Of
I didn't need
course.
to make a formulaic song really 2 times to make it work. Because really, If I Rule the World is the only time he followed that formula. Other than that, he found different ways to make a hit. Hate Me Now. I Can.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Made You Look.
Again, I get that. All I'm saying is there are reasons why Illmatic didn't do the numbers that that people would have liked it to have done, and there's a formula for that too.
Everybody bootlegged it. Columbia didn't have no Jimmy Iovine. No, we can go through the list of reasons, Mike. You know what's at the bottom of the list? Nah.
There's no singers on the hooks, man. Web visibility with the super
Came
chat
back with
says,
Hook Game too.
with all due respect, the list is way too 80s/90s bias. I think at some point you should do a list by decade. Too many Drake, Kendrick, and Meek songs missing. Fair point.
I was thinking too many Rick Ross songs missing.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, Drake successful in Best I Ever Had dropped, and they was putting him in the same sentence as Kanye West, fresh off the streets of Canada.
I like Best I Ever Had. Best I Ever Had's up there.
I think it's his best.
Is it his best song? That might be the one, Mike. I might give Best I Ever Had like some love. No. That's a little I Need Love for the modern day. I thought about I Need Love.
But see, this is exactly why I'm into picking the best song and not just picking from artists and their best songs, because then you start trying to fit people in. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
We're going for the best song, and that's how I put the list together. I don't care who made it. I'm going for the best song. You know what I'm saying?
We got 31 of the same songs, Mike, so it really just seems like we need to find some middle ground for about 19 songs.
And we will. Homeboy Blaze with the super chat says, no Warren G and Nate Dogg Regulate. I got them on there.
Mike put Regulate on there. Regulate's one of those songs that's on my hit list, Mike, but it's like when I look at Regulate, how about this? We've been doing this show for 3 years now on Friday. We got a nice little West Coast following, Mike. How many times you done heard niggas pulling out talking about Regulate?
That's a fair point.
Mike, I lived in Cali. They play Regulate. I done seen Warren G down in Orange County before on a couple times. He used to bring his family into Dave and Buster's, Mike. Really good family, man. Bring the whole family. I always think of Warren G bringing the whole family. Mike, Regulate ain't like that in Cali sometimes. I'm telling you that live from somebody that was out there. Now, they play it. They respect it. They love Warren G. Mike, I hear this DJ as much as I hear Regulate in Cali when I lived out there.
Regulate saved Def Jam from a historical standpoint. So.
Regulate saved a lot of niggas.
Yeah.
But the song, that's what I'm saying, is like...
And also, and rest in peace
Regulate is very Hard Knock Life like, Mike.
Is Regulate Nate Dogg's real jump off?
It's just as much Nate Dogg's song as it is Warren G.
Of course.
And what I would tell you is that it's... Because of that, it's half R&B record. 16 in the clip and 1 in the hole. Nate Dogg is about to make some bodies turn cold. Now they dropping in yelling. It's a tad bit late. Nate Dogg and Warren G had to regulate.
Indiana Combs with the super chat says...
I'm pretty sure that nigga singing.
Indiana Combs with the super chat says, wow, Mike just took his hat off for a second. LOL. Yeah, I gotta get a lineup, man. You ready to get up out of here, man? We got to really get on this MC list on Friday, and I think
Can we just do one MC thing before we go, just like for the sake of making some sort of progress? Can we do one MC thing?
Sure.
Hold on, let me see. Shit, Mike.
I'm about to debate it out at this point.
Right, because I mean, where do we stop at, Mike? This is what I'm saying. I don't even know where we stopped at. We got Ross at 34.
Yo, people saying you bugging about the Regulate thing. I got Regulate in the top 50.
I mean, if you have Regulate up there, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not arguing with you. All I'm saying is Regulate. It's closer to top billing, and It Takes Two and Treat Me Right by Chubb Rock than it is Children's Story and Boys in the Hood and The Message and My Philosophy. No, it ain't that. Like, stop that. Like, understand what it is and shit like that it is. It's like, well, if I miss... And this is why everybody... I'm going to tell you what we really need to do, Mike. This shit's so real and hip-hop is so old and so big and bold now. I damn near feel like I could do damn near a top 50 list for every region. Definitely top 25. And I'm gonna tell you what was most striking to me about my list. I feel like the Midwest is the one that's getting the least representation because their biggest artists are Eminem, Common, Conway, Kanye, The Brat, Twista,
Nelly.
Nelly. So I feel like the Midwest is the one that actually got the least representation. South in the house, Mike.
What about Bone?
Bone, yes, Bone, definitely.
Yeah.
All you motherfuckers that don't like Let Me See It, kiss my ass.
Yeah, I don't think Let Me See It belongs on there. I love the record though.
I do. Because it belongs to the South. No, Mike, that's
I pick Show
anthem.
Enough over that if we're gonna go there.
Show Enough. No, Mike ain't.
I'd pick
I don't know.
Space Age
I just don't know
Pimpin'
where
over
niggas
that.
was. It's like no, like UGK until they made International Players Anthem, never made a song that rang out in the South bigger than Let Me See It. And I don't know why niggas is acting like that happened. When did that happen? People acting like Mike. The ladies in the after hour spots in Atlanta was not grinding the murder. They was grinding to Let Me See It when I pulled up.
But what about
you understand what I'm saying?
What about Show Enough by Tilo or Space Age Pimpin'?
No. Space Age Pimpin', Mike. Space Age Pimpin' is closer to. I thought about Space Age Pimpin' too. I picked Let Me See It over Space Age Pimpin' if we're being specific.
Yeah.
That all depends on where you go, Mike. You know, like the girls that Cheetah might say Space Age Pimpin'. The girls at Magic would be like, you know, they
I think Space Age Pimpin' is a bigger and more important song than Let Me See It, and I love Let Me See It. I probably like Let Me See It better, but you know, between the two, I have to go.
Okay, this is what I'm saying. We're known for our afterlife and our nightlife after here, and I tell you that as much as I like Space Age Pimpin', that's more what you play when you walking out the club with her, when you get her in the car. But when she up on stage, Mike, and she up on the pole, Let Me See It is what's getting the dollars thrown around. Just talking some game. I ain't saying like I've seen it or I've done it before. Just
all right, let's get into this list real quick. Not the list, but the what's it called? Oh, super chat. We got Mad Max with the super chat says. So Biz Just a Friend is not on the list. It's criminal. Nah, I got Just a Friend by Biz Markie on my list.
I don't, Mike. I couldn't do it because Nobody Beats the Biz is such a banger. Like that and Vapors. When I played them all three next to each other, I played Just a Friend and Vapors next to Nobody Beat the Biz. I'm like, man, Nobody Beat the Biz is banging on another two.
I got Just a Friend on my list. Y'all see it right here.
I got Nobody Beat the Biz. Mike, we can fight about that. I'm not taking Nobody Beat the Biz off for Just a Friend. You can keep that shit.
I had to. I personally.
That's that happy shit I'm talking about.
Oh, see, this is a Coop list. We got to make an all-inclusive list.
Inclusive is to pick the best Biz Markie song.
I don't know, man. The most impactful one. I don't know.
I think Vapors is most impactful because Snoop actually did Vapors over.
I think Just a Friend is the record that everybody knows. Like, you play that track, everybody knows it.
Mike, everybody be knowing Eminem records, and you be telling me that don't matter.
I don't think everybody knows Eminem records, but who's everybody?
Huh.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, Mike.
I don't think it's the people in this chat.
Oh, it's very problematic. You know what I'm saying.
Because if you put on one of his records and you have people rapping along and then you cut the music off, ain't nobody gonna know any of them words.
Man, when Nobody Beat the Biz drop, that's what time it is, Mike.
Yeah, just
I feel like DMX even took Nobody Beat the Biz and freestyled over that shit once, Mike. I'm having flashbacks of niggas taking that beat.
Let's be perfectly honest. This has been proven. When Biz Markie passed away, what was everybody talking about? Just a friend. He was more than just a friend. Just a friend. Just a friend. That was his record.
That's like when Biggie died, everybody was talking about Juicy, not the One More Chance remix. Now, we all know better, though, don't we?
That's fair.
Mike, when Tupac died, Mike, won California Love Fest. You and I know Keep Your Head Up and Dear Mama need to be getting played over fucking California Love.
California Love's on my list too, though.
And Hit 'Em Up. When Tupac died, niggas was rolling around playing Hit 'Em Up, California Love, and How Do You Want It? Knowing good and damn well Dear Mama, So Many Tears, and Keep Your Head Up. I didn't want to hear that.
All right, I got to roll in a second. You ready to do this one?
Mike, when we doing this freestyle, when we doing this cipher, niggas need to catch these bars.
Whatever, man. We got everything set up.
What we doing? We pulling up to like according to Hip Hop Studios. We flying 007 down.
Yeah, we could do that.
I hit 007 with the beat. You want to tell people what the beat is? Can we tell people what the beat is? Is it?
Yeah. You can tell people what the beat is. That reminds me, man. I gotta send Mickey Fax a beat, man. Shit.
Is Mickey jumping on? Mickey Jones getting the cipher?
Oh no, not this one, man. He's supposed to be coming by Friday and dropping something.
Okay. We rhyming over for all you hip hop heads. This song will never make the top 50 list, but we're rhyming over the respiration beat. Yeah, we are.
It's gonna be dope.
Yeah, we are. Get you some bar work on respiration since you hip hop heads love this rap shit so much. Respiration. I got my guy in Little Rock. Shout out to LT. LT's plugged up to Griselda BSF, Conway's drum work label. I'm thinking about having LT come in and contribute to the cipher too, so we can get a little for the hard way, get like a little bar work going on. Okay. Shout out to my man LT in Little Rock. He does a little radio, TV, and programming. Not a little, but he does it real big, actually. But shout out to my man LT. We putting some stuff together. But Mike, we need to make this cipher happen. Give him this bar work.
Let me know when y'all ready. We're gonna knock it out.
I mean, Mike, my bars are Mike. I got so many. You tell me. How about this? When 007 can make it down here, and we can go to
Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm already, I'll be like this, Mike. I'm gonna tell you what, and niggas who know me when I used to rap be this. Coop will walk in with like 3-4 pages of rhymes, and by about like 15 minutes in, I'll be like, "You wanna know what?" And I'll just start rapping, like whatever comes to mind right there. That's usually how it goes, Mike. When I be speaking at funerals, like my family be clowning me. I be speaking to everybody at funeral. I be having this sheet of paper. I be balling the paper up in front of people. Be like, "So look, this is what we talking about today." That's how it be when I hit the booth sometimes. So it might turn into like a real freestyle.
Let's start this MC thing. First thing Friday, no matter what's going on. We like 3.5 hours in.
We're 3.5 months into an MC list, though, Mike.
I know, man. We're not going to make any progress tonight. We're 3.5 hours.
No, we're not. No, I'm done with tonight. I need to cook some
But
dinner.
Yeah, first thing Friday. All right.
No. I mean, Mike, watch us get some new music for the first time on Friday. I guarantee you, just the fact that you like, let's get to this MC list first on Friday. Watch it be like, Jay-Z's new album dropping this Friday.
That's not going to happen. Jigga, hold on.
Be like Kanye releases a surprise album. Lil Wayne and Drake collaboration album out the middle of nowhere.
That's not going to happen. We ain't going to get no music all year.
No, that's how it be, Mike. That's how I feel every time we try to do this list. I just feel like shit be falling out the sky.
Well, no matter what's going on, we'll jump on the list first thing Friday.